Hey everybody, so we have some exciting news. We just dropped a brand new episode of our ongoing Lucy Lawless IMDb experience situation over on Patreon. Mm-hmm. This one is a deep dive into...
Very deep.
the wonderful world of Stevie Nicks Fajita Roundup.
The best SNL sketch
Ever.
Ever?
Ever.
Ever.
So listen to that over on Patreon.
Liv, you weren't in it. Is there anything you'd like to say about it?
I see it every night in my burrito dreams.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice.
So check that out. And then as far as this goes, you might look at the running time of this episode and go,
Ooh.
What?
Is this a joke?
It is a little bit.
I mean, we recorded maybe like half an hour and then the rest is just dead silence.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. We went all out for Married with Fishsticks.
The greatest Xena episode ever produced.
Ever. We threw a tiki party,
We
basically, and went all out.
We had fun.
It's a crazy good time.
Yep.
So
Go
stick
get
around.
some rum and settle in.
Big time settle in. Some shenanigans await you. So enjoy.
Woo!
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Baby row. Oh my god.
Bush's number one worst episode
This episode is awful.
of Xena Warrior Princess.
This is being recorded.
This is part of the podcast.
Hello and welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera Salmonia, and I'm joined...
I didn't get it.
I get it, but I
get
think
it now.
it's confusing.
I'm joined, as always, by my two scaly co-hosts, Katie Crawfia
Hello.
and Livy Tuna.
Just Tuna.
Livy Tuna.
Hello.
Everyone listening is so scared right now. We're going to do the whole podcast this way.
That would truly be commitment.
Oh my god.
I can't even
It's
do
turning
it.
into Valley Girl.
Yeah,
I don't even know. Mine would turn into like bad Australian. I think.
Clearly mine turns Boston-y.
Yeah.
We were practicing.
Practicing.
I was afraid that I was going to sound like Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny the whole time. But it was actually, that would make me sound good.
That would make you sound really good. In fact,
Yeah.
you were doing it yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
and you sounded perfect.
Oh, thanks.
Right. But now that it's recorded.
Yeah,
we
it's
can't do
gone.
that anymore.
It's gone.
Listen, guys. Today's a really special day.
So special.
We are recording
I am so excited.
something that we've been just waiting
Forever.
Like, this was one of our milestones.
I made a tweet where I was like, oh, we have a countdown clock, like a doomsday clock. We're counting
Doomsday.
down to Married with Fishsticks, which I knew people would interpret as, oh my god, we're dreading Married with Fishsticks. But the truth is, we
They
are so
were-
fucking excited.
Wrong.
We have been
Wrong.
anticipating this for our entire lives.
Basically.
So everyone, thank you, Crawfia, for those.
You're welcome.
Wait, what's my name again?
You're Livy Tuna.
Tuna.
Oh, I'm just Tuna.
That sounds
You
like a
love
mob
tuna
name, like
fish.
someone's
Yeah,
a tuna.
Livy Tuna.
Livy Tuna.
And I'm Salmonia because I want to keep it ethnic.
I see.
I'm gonna put
You're allowed.
I'm gonna
You're
put
allowed.
a coin in the jar for that.
Okay.
Oh,
You missed.
So, I mean, the other thing we need to announce, the bubbles are coming from our very special tiki drinks that are part of this. I mean, we went all out.
Yeah.
That's how much we've been waiting to record this episode.
We're in like beach attire, and
The sunglasses
our
are
swizzle
on.
sticks ready for it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's right.
They're a stick, and they have a fish on the end of it. So
they-
it's a fish stick.
Fish
Whoa.
stick.
Wow.
Fish stick has been a thing the Xena production staff has been obsessed with since at least season 4.
Yes,
the
they
original
have.
title of Fins, Fens, and Gems,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Fishsticks?
Fishsticks. Like shtick.
Yeah.
Like a shtick.
I
Like
get,
a-
I get it, but I also sort of wish I didn't get it.
like comedy.
So this episode has a reputation.
It does.
Oh, it sure does. What is that reputation?
Bad reputation,
Very
as Taylor
bad
Swift
rap.
would say.
Oh.
This is, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the number 1 worst episode as ranked by Whoosh.
That's
You're
ranked-
wrong.
No,
This is wrong.
it is. Yeah. We've been. I'm gonna just go in and out of this all day, I guess. No. Yeah. So on the worst list, yes. I think there's 12 on each, best and worst, 12. And this is indeed the number 1 worst episode of Xena, Warrior Princess, as voted by Whoosh.
And even beyond Whoosh, I think you talk to any Xena fan and mention this,
They're like, oh my god.
you get a reaction.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
So
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I think that is.
Do you think it's because of how it is generally?
Yes and no.
Right.
I'm
yeah.
assuming that everyone listening doesn't need a description off the bat of
But
why.
should we do a disclaimer about how we love this episode?
I was gonna do like a drum roll.
Oh,
like,
okay.
We love this episode.
Best.
It's best.
Maybe number 1.
Number
the best
one
list.
best. No, I think that we need to. Well, at least for me, we can go around the room maybe and
Okay,
clarify.
that's a good idea.
So, do I wish this episode didn't exist? I don't know. I have to think about that.
Okay, well that was really edifying. Thank you, Katie.
I still have to think about that a little bit more.
Wow.
Vera's
Can
like,
I
no,
go
I
next?
need this
No,
episode.
I should go last.
But listen, like, I have a thing where, oh, geez, Louise, Phil.
We better mention that we have our own baby row today.
Phil is going to town.
What is Phil's aquatic name, Vera?
Lil Prawn.
Lil Prawn.
Lil Prawn. That's also his rapper name.
Lil Prawn with like a $sign somehow in there.
Lil Prawn.
Well, I don't know what I was saying.
You were gonna pass
yeah.
it on to.
No, I wasn't done.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
No, she hasn't made up her mind about how she feels, whether the episode should exist. I believe was her trouble.
I think at the end of the day, I do want it to exist, but like, there's a lot that comes with it as a fan of the show when you're like presenting it to other people, and there's a lot that comes with it based on personal taste and how one enjoys things.
Sure.
For me, I have to turn off a little bit the part of my brain that would have very, very much preferred for some of the very interesting and serious issues
Yes.
in the
Oh,
episode
you're right.
about Gabrielle to have been dealt with not this way.
That is the one thing that is very
That is
unique.
why I think that maybe I wish that if it didn't exist, it could have been some other episode. They're like,
He has the
squeaky.
squeakies.
Lil Prawn.
Yes.
Lil Prawn has a squeaky toy.
It's definitely a dolphin.
Oh my god.
As you were saying,
Yeah,
Katie.
I think Katie made a really good point.
I agree.
What is your opinion on this episode?
I think Katie makes a really good point. This episode is actually about really intense psychological things, and it would be amazing
If you
to
squint.
have. And if you squint and maybe drink 2 tiki drinks, I do find myself grateful for what's there. Like, I admit that I have an enormous affection for this episode.
Yeah.
I love that it exists. I think that even though it's this obviously failed experiment in television, I think it's fascinating in its failure.
I agree.
think the fact that it does have like some of this really important Gabrielle psychology embedded in it kind of makes it interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like in a way, an episode that was more serious, like I'm going to talk about these issues, wouldn't have been worth. Certainly wouldn't have been as fun for Xena Warrior podcast to discuss.
Been both. You could have a crazy version of this that is maybe a successful experiment, plus like more ongoing stuff.
Yeah, you think about something like Bittersweet, which honestly is just as insane as this, but is sort of the successful experiment, and is able to foreground the psychology. I mean, one of the biggest issues with this episode is that the psychology of Gabrielle as a mother, and all of her issues with hope and that trauma, like it's barely glanced upon. You have to kind of put that in yourself as a viewer, and I think if you do, it's really rewarding. And we'll talk about like, how that stuff is in there and why it's so important.
You guys are insane. This episode is like the best episode like out of all of Xena. Like, oh my god, best list.
Which episodes of Xena is it better than?
The Quest. Really, literally swap that out.
You're going to get in so much trouble.
Xena fandom gonna set you on fire, girl.
I'm not kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I am kidding.
You're kidding.
I'm kidding. I'm sort of
kidding.
I think that maybe I can speak for the three of us when I say that, like, in terms of watching an episode and some stuff that's interesting, a off-the-wall crazy thing like this, even given its faults and or maybe failures, is what you said, Olivia, it more interesting to me than watching an episode that's just boring.
Okay, so a couple of things. The caveat here is that, we watched this episode originally like on a binge. We watched Xena on a binge, right? So it wasn't like we were waiting a week to see a new episode of our favorite show. We didn't know what was coming. We knew that this was going to be really awful because it was on the number one list.
Yeah, warned us.
And then we watched it and we were like, this was amazing. Because it was just like, whatever, unique. And again, like, then we quickly went to the next one and then we know what the next one is. But, like, like the point being that you didn't have that, like,
good stuff going on the next
you didn't have, like, weeks to wait and then you get that kind of thing, right? So that's the number one thing. Number two, this episode was ahead of its time. It is pure genius. It belongs to a museum.
I still think this is the sort of TV creation that I can totally imagine in 1,000 years, the human race will be gone. All that is going to be left is married with fish sticks, and it's going to be worshipped by an alien race. They're going to be like, whoever created this was a genius.
This is the stuff that cult opinions are born out of.
Yeah.
No. Okay. No. The other thing is that, Katie, you mentioned, would you want this episode or would you want an episode that's like, if the shoe fits?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I would take this one over the other one any day.
I would take this over Little Problems, over Punchlines, over almost any silly comedy episode we've had in the last, like, 2 seasons.
Right. And then you guys were talking about how, like, this is dealing with some important shit, right? But, like, something like, what was it?
Attraction?
The one with the Western?
Yeah.
Animal Attraction. That one was dealing with, like, Xena's pregnant. Yeah. And, like, that was, like, so bad. You talked about how
But that one was using the comedy to, like, not deal with it, to avoid it. Right. Whereas this episode, for all its nonsense, is actually dealing with the issues via the comedy.
It's trying to.
It's very uncomfortable comedy, in part, because it is trying to do some shit. I don't know how intentional a lot of it is. That's definitely a conversation we have to have, is how much of, like, the stuff that I find interesting is stuff that, like, they actually put in there and how much is just there for us.
I think, once you put, I think this is very important for fandom, especially, that once something is out there, it doesn't matter what people intended. Generally, intention is important. Mm-hmm. But also, for an episode like this, especially, I think you can do a lot of really fun readings of it that maybe were not intended. That's the fun of the episode, and that's the appeal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a pastiche of so many different sources that I think you can pull out almost anything that you want to say from this. Like, it has a lot going on in it. And, as we are here to talk about TV, and this is TV you can talk about.
Right. It is prestige TV.
Ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time.
This is Mad Men right here.
It is, and 100%.
Definitely influenced by The Sopranos, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me personally, like, I love it so much because you can give your brain a vacation and you can just enter this crazy world, this rated R world, and enjoy the shit out of it.
It's got a dark underbelly.
Yeah. It's
They're really twisted barnacles growing on that underbelly.
Literally.
Yeah.
And part of it is just like, I watch it and I go, I can't believe they got away with like so much of this. That's kind of like part of it. Shall we get into it?
Let's dive in.
This episode is 5:15 Married with Fishsticks. It's written by Kevin Maynard and directed by Paul Grinder.
Okay, already so much to unpack here.
Right,
Yeah.
like the number one thing is that Paul Grinder invented Grinder.
Yeah. I'm just going to take another sip of my painkiller before we get really started.
Do you want to know
painkiller.
my favorite thing about Paul Grinder? His IMDb photo is a mirror selfie. Love you, Paul Grinder.
He literally invented Grinder. Yeah.
Did you say define
Painkiller.
I don't. It's.
You thought it was an appropriate drink for this episode.
I did. Well, like we said, we're drinking Tiki drinks, which is sort of a variation on a painkiller and or pina colada on the rocks recipe. We have rum and we're drinking it.
But we got it specifically because we wanted the vibe of this episode.
Very island chic.
Yeah.
Very. We're at the club.
Yeah,
We're at the
We
club.
are
It's
broadcasting
exclusive.
live from the club.
Doing our aqua size.
I don't know what that was supposed to be. All right, can we talk about the people involved
Yes.
in this episode? Let's
Yes.
talk about it. First,
Sure.
well, let's talk about his title. Married with Fishsticks.
Married with Children.
Okay, so it's already saying I'm kind of a take on sitcoms.
If you are unfamiliar with Married with Children, it was on. When did it start? Holy shit!
Early
90s, not
80s
late
or
80s. No, it would have been late 80s,
Yeah.
but like definitely early 90s.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I feel like it started after The Simpsons, and Fox had The Simpsons and Married with Children that were both kind of these different satirical looks at American like middle class families.
The first episode of Married with Children was 1987. The last episode was 1997. So at this point, it's
Wow,
already off the
that's
air.
awesome.
I'm gonna actually just addendum, not even middle class, like blue collar. I don't know what you would call the Bundys.
So this was on at the same time as Roseanne.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It was probably a Roseanne
was after.
knockoff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
yeah, it was after Roseanne, I meant to
Okay,
say,
yeah.
for sure. Peggy Bundy is
Is
the
the-
greatest
She's the greatest, yes.
character of all times. I love her. I feel like there's some stylistic influence
Yes,
in
for
this
sure.
episode
For
of
sure.
Peggy Bundy.
Mixed with the B-52s.
But Peggy Bundy is more like she can give as good as she gets. She's less of the Crustacea style of sitcom housewife. I feel like
Absolutely.
Crustacea owes more to Marge Simpson
Okay.
and to older versions of this character, the kind
Yeah.
of long-suffering, perfect wife and mother. I love that Peggy is sort of a takedown of that sort of character.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the people who
Yeah,
wrote
sorry.
and directed the episode. Kevin Maynard.
Yeah.
This is his only Xena.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. Oh, man.
He
You're
has
my fave.
also written for Hercules. He wrote one episode of Dexter. And then he found his true calling. Guys, you'll never guess.
The show True Calling.
He's a
No.
fisherman.
No, that's a good guess. That's close. He does reality TV.
Oh,
How is that close?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean?
I feel like
Underwater reality
I
TV?
see like this sort of like comfort food trashiness of reality TV. Like I see that in Married with Fishsticks.
Okay.
So he's done
Oh,
shows.
because he was watching those mermaids swim by? Like, that was reality TV.
Sure, all right. That literally was reality TV. He did a few shows, something called Dress My Nest, where one of the Fab Five, like the original Fab Five from Queer Eye, would like redo people's apartments based on their favorite outfit.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't Carson because
No,
he did
it's,
fashion.
I forget his name.
Other one.
Tom something.
Sure.
He also did a show called Addicted to Beauty, which was about a plastic surgery practice.
Oh, wow.
And then my personal favorite, Jessica Simpson, The Price of Beauty.
Wow.
Oh, man. Tuna is the chicken of the sea.
Exactly. So I love Jessica Simpson. She gave me great publicity.
So the roots of his career, you say? are here.
And then he went on. I should mention that the other one of his that I wrote down is Party Monsters Cabo, which again I feel like the beach.
That's the club. The club.
Bad behavior. The reason I want to talk about the Jessica Simpson show is this was like a docu-series. This isn't like about Jessica Simpson. This is a show where Jessica Simpson goes around the world like being like a docu-host who like is investigating beauty standards in other countries.
Oh my goodness.
Including Japan and India.
Oh,
so our problematic jar would have had a field day with this program.
I bet.
So that's Kevin Maynard. Let's go on to Paul Grinder,
Yes, please.
the director. He is actually, like, he's a veteran of Xena. He's been the second unit director of all of Xena. And now finally he's getting his big break with Married with Fishsticks.
All right.
Second unit directors are generally the guys who direct all the stunts.
Right. Guys who direct the stunts, guys who do like the close-ups of hands doing things, any kind of insert that doesn't involve the actors.
Yeah.
The second unit does. He's gone on to a pretty impressive career as an assistant director, which is one step up really from second unit. That means he is there like doing
the schedule.
Yeah, keeping to schedule, doing all the stuff that the director doesn't want to do, which means just making sure things are where they're supposed to be and that everything's happening on time. So he has worked on Colony, the new Lost in Space.
Oh, Colony.
Black Sails, Timeless, Spartacus, the movies District 9, Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, and 30 Days of Night.
That's a lot of stuff.
So he's done
That's
a lot of cool shit.
Right.
I like the direction in this.
I think it's really good.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I like a lot of other things about it aesthetically as well. Like,
I think this episode is genius.
The set design. And I also am going to say that we'll get into it, I'm sure. So I don't mean to jump the gun if people had stuff to say about this and we haven't gotten into it. But I think that, like, this is Jane Holland's crowning glory.
I agree.
I have said so much about her, but here she shines.
Do you know why? Because all this time what Jane Holland has needed was an excuse to put out tacky nonsense in an episode about tacky nonsense.
Yes.
Finally!
I really hope people don't turn on us so hard.
I hope that people continue listening to this episode. This is definitely not what a lot of you guys thought
expected
was going to happen. And I'm not going to apologize because we genuinely like it.
Don't worry. We'll address all the problematic material.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. One other thing we should mention about the production.
Cool.
Which is this is out of sequence.
Oh,
yes.
right.
This was shot before God-Fearing Child. This is the first episode they shot after Lucy returned from her maternity leave.
Oh, wow.
So when we were like, yay, last week she's back in her outfit. Here she is back in the old outfit.
Yeah.
That also means that this is an Orsi Kurtzman production.
Their best gift to us.
But the last straw for their tenure on the show.
That's what we hear. We hear that this is what made
it said.
Them fire
The internet.
I don't know if I believe that. Work. That seems convenient with fandom's whole narrative about how terrible this episode is.
Right.
Which I don't subscribe to. So, I mean, if you actually look at the facts, it sounds like Cleopatra 2525 was canceled. RJ was free. Jack of all trades needed people, so
they went there.
Kurtzman and Orsi went to that. I mean, they rejiggered their stuff. Did they probably have reasons?
Here.
Yeah,
I really don't think this fit with them. They need a man to write for, and they were like, "What is this? There's so many ladies." So they were like, "Oh, Jack, okay, great, we're there."
I completely agree. I don't think this was a natural fit, and I think everybody knew that. But at the same time, I would be loath to say that everybody saw this episode said, "What a disaster!
What a disaster!"
and then booted them to Jack of all trades. So yeah, I think that's it for production level stuff.
That was good. I really enjoyed that tidbits about the director.
Jessica Simpson,
the writer.
The Price of Beauty.
The director, yes.
Right, so this episode actually begins with Gabs, and she's stuck babysitting baby Eve.
Here's one of the least problematic elements in the episode, but I was just
You're filling up the jar and just like...
it burns and hurts my soul to hear her call herself auntie.
Yes.
Cross that line out. Nope.
So Xena is...
Who's your favorite daddy?
Oh my god. Does that sound wrong?
It's just, like,
that sounds very wrong.
Like, the episode is so, like, and her issues in the episode and stuff is, like, tied up in this idea that she's worried about being a good parent.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that they needed to throw in auntie as a line. It just was very specific.
Sisters.
No,
Sisters
yeah.
who kiss.
She didn't have to be, like... She didn't have to say mom, dad. Like, you know, she wouldn't have said that.
Who's
but
your
like,
favorite co-parent?
I don't even think she needed to say anything.
Who's your favorite
and
person with short blonde hair?
Pointed to me, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And it just seems so odd. I found it odd to hear her call herself Gabby. Like,
I hated
the
that.
whole line bothered me. I was just like, what?
I hated that, but you know, that's how it was back then.
Which is weird, considering how the episode like ends. It's like, why does it start with auntie? Anyway, fine.
No, absolutely, you're right.
Carry on.
That's muddying the water in a weird way. Yeah, she's not an aunt. She is a mother here.
Yeah, and the whole point of the episode, yes.
Yeah.
So Xena's off having some me time and a quick bath. So Gabs is like with Eve, and Eve just like won't stop crying.
Gabs tries to bribe her. She says, I'll
Yes.
give you a dinar.
I'll give you 5 dinars. That was huge. That you see how at the end of her rope she was.
You remember one of our earliest jokes about Gabrielle is how much she loved money. So
Yeah.
I love that she's putting that on Eve now.
Okay, so then Xena comes back, and you know when she takes Eve, Eve immediately stops crying, and she's like, "Well, of course she would. I'm her mother." Gabs goes, "You're a natural. I thought I was, but I've lost my touch."
That line says so little and yet so much.
I loved Xena's reaction because she goes, "Nah, you're great with kids if they're demons."
No, that's not what she says. But she also says that she would rise to any occasion. Just odd. It doesn't really acknowledge anything whatsoever.
Yeah, you feel like, I mean, again, this is Kurtzman and Orsi. It seemed loath to actually tie this back to the continuity, which is that Gabrielle would have real issues with a baby.
Talking about that stuff. Yeah, no, her line in response is, "I don't have the patience to even raise my own," because her baby, as you recall, grew to adult woman size in
a
like
day.
a day. So
Yeah.
of course she doesn't have the patience. She expects every baby to be
this is
full grown.
supposed to harken back to, I guess, a very early version of Gabrielle that would have been really into being a parent that I don't know existed ever, that we never saw.
Whatever.
I
you
don't
can go away.
even know.
Yeah.
I thought even her description of herself as impatient seems strange. I mean, she's impatient with, like, Joxer.
Season
but is she really
5
an impatient person?
Can I just, like, because I know,
part of the episode.
I know
Yeah.
that there's, it's fun and all that jazz, but the whole of season 5 is a really, really, really problematic for Gabrielle and her character arc and continuity and just everything.
Yeah.
So
It's not great.
yeah.
But, I mean, this is one of the places in the episode where I, at least, as a viewer who wants to like this, wants to get as much as I can out of every Xena episode that exists, there are precious few. I see this as a kind of placeholder conversation.
Okay.
Where what you're supposed to understand is, hey, hope happened. I have issues about being a parent.
Okay.
Like, I went through something, and it hasn't really been addressed on the show. Remember that, viewers? Okay, we do.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I mean, I admit that's not there. That's not what's in the writing. But I feel that.
Okay.
The whole idea that she's lost her touch, which is such a strange thing to say. I mean, lost. She's lost a child.
Right.
You know, and, you know, she killed that child several times.
Yeah.
yeah.
So lost her touch is both inadequate as a way of describing
Yes.
that, but also, you know, actually does say something
Okay, yeah.
about what's going on with her.
So Eve falls asleep in Xena's arms, and right then is where Joxer enters the picture, all clankety clank, and he brought the spud some grub. which is some baby back ribs.
Oh, no, it's going to be stuck in my head the rest of the day.
Well, that was stuck in everyone's head back then because that was a commercial. That was popular.
Yeah. He bought baby back ribs because it's a joke, because baby and food and it's baby ribs.
He could have brought her some baby greens.
Why is he bringing her anything? She's breastfeeding.
That's a good question. We don't know how much time has passed.
Yeah, did they ask him to bring Eve food?
Yeah,
Yes.
she did. Yes,
They did.
And that's why Gabs has to take him back to the village to get real baby food.
Yeah.
Or food that the baby can eat. But the baby cannot eat any of this food right now. It's too small.
That separates them from Xena.
My favorite bit of this is just that Joxer calls the baby it.
I liked that.
Consistently.
I really liked that.
It's also very clear in the scene that the baby is a doll. This is, not at all a real baby.
So once they get to the town, the first thing we see is this pirate. He's in love. So you know that, Aphrodite's probably going to be around.
She looks fun this episode, I would say, in her Aphrodite garb. I like the boots.
Yeah, it's a good outfit.
They're kicky, fun. I think they're above the knee boots. They're very high.
Okay, so all right, we have Aphrodite. She's watching this pirate. She's very proud of her work, and then she's standing kind of on the dock, and then there's a big old pirate ship, I guess. And Discord shows up and they start throwing insults, and this is where I'm like, whoa.
But I'm also because the last time we saw Discord, and the only other time we've seen Discord on Xena was Takes One to Know One, and we were so annoyed with her appearance there because it was so Hercules.
I hate Discord.
She redeems herself, I think, here. She's so much fun.
I don't she's never been my fave.
I don't like her as Discord.
Yeah.
I like her as Sturgina.
Dude, put a pin in it. Megan Desmond, who plays Discord, and Sturgina, I had no idea who I was watching once that happened.
Yeah,
but
she
anyway,
came alive.
Yeah, this is Discord, and I'm like, whatever.
They're fighting. I mean, this was actually some Hercules nonsense, I thought. Just seeing two gods fighting. I was like, don't care.
Well, they kind of, they were... Eventually, they start throwing their, god power, fireballs and, pew-pew, at each other.
Pew-pew-pew-pew.
And it was kind of in Buffy when Xander fights, what's her name?
Is this a spoiler?
No, it's just a ridiculous scene.
Harmony, when
Xander fights Harmony and they just do slappy slaps at each other.
Yeah.
But this is from far away, but with god powers.
Yeah, fireballs.
So it was really silly.
Yeah, I liked it.
I much prefer their, verbal sparring.
Oh my god, okay.
Which is pretty classic.
Hit us with it.
Discord starts by saying, I almost didn't recognize you with your legs so close together.
Jeez.
Dang!
Wow.
All of their, can you jar?
Yes.
All of their verbal sparring is based on just them being these two women who are saying shit about each other based on them being women.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And their sexual habits,
Yeah.
which it's come on, no slut-shaming here.
I'm more concerned.
Also, they're gods.
I mean, that's true.
Get it, girls.
I can't believe half of this episode's dialogue got past the censors. Honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah,
TBH.
it's a lot. My favorite, I don't know if you're going to say it, Vera, is when Aphrodite throws a fireball and says, love 40.
Oh my god.
That was my favorite.
That was ridiculous.
I thought that, and Vera is a former
champion tennis player? Is what you were going to say?
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
That's very much not true, but I did play tennis.
So I thought that was a joke for you.
I loved it. So there's all these explosions, no one can see it, but the actual explosions are happening everywhere.
Poor pirate goon gets his flower heads chopped off.
I thought that was sad.
I felt bad for him. Eat me, hose bag.
Oh my god.
What?
Right?
What's a hose bag?
Really?
Have another sip,
Olivia.
Sweet summer child.
Oh no. It's very distinctly 90s.
Phrasing,
Yeah.
for sure.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
There's just so much explosions everywhere. The villagers are oh my god, and everyone's running for cover. That's when Gabs and Joxer show up. Yes.
I'm sorry. I forgot how gross it was when she did the soap thing.
Yes.
I really wanted to point that out because I really, really hated that.
So yeah,
and I thought that was
Aphrodite.
nasty. She was like, Aphrodite said something about washing Discord's mouth out with soap, and you expect some kind of
You
like
hear cartoon bubbles.
yeah, like some kind of cartoonish thing, but it's like she just. Thank you. She just like has like detergent in her mouth that just
so
like
gross. She spits
spews,
it out.
and I find it very upsetting.
It's the stuff you do
Yeah, I
for
don't
like people
like
who
it.
get poisoned on screen. It's like
was,
foaming at
not
the mouth.
Because then there's like, there's other effects and stuff later, so I don't know why that had to be so nasty. Anyway, continue.
Gabs can summon Aphrodite with a whistle.
This is a revelation that she can whistle for her.
My God.
Yes.
Gabrielle can whistle, and Aphrodite
appears and she's basically like, yes, honey. Like, it was great.
Wow.
So our two goddesses keep firing at each other. They will not stop kind of being like this.
And they won't even stop in the fantasy, as we will soon see.
That's very true. Oh my gosh. I didn't even think about that, but you're very right. So they start like firing again, and then one stray shot, I feel like it's from Aphrodite, goes and hits like this rope.
I like that it's from Aphrodite. Because again, this is like a therapeutic hit to the head. So
yeah,
I want to think that it's
true.
It's coming from a good place.
And then later she's very concerned.
Yes, as she should be.
Okay, yeah. So it hits this rope, and then the rope goes loose, and the end of the rope has like this big metal like thingy, and that bonks Gabrielle right in the noggin, and she falls into the water. And then she goes down, down, down.
Under the sea.
Under the sea.
Keep that in mind.
Oh, yes.
Is that a pin in it?
Sure.
No, I just have a aesthetics thing. Anyway, the Illusia music plays.
Yes.
The entrance to Illusia.
You know why.
Why?
You know
Olivia?
why. It's all illusion.
No.
The whole show.
The whole show.
The whole show is illusion. No, we go past Illusia. This
is the neighborhood next to Illusia.
Yes, she floats by Illusia. No, we know Melodia is next to Illusia.
Right.
This is beyond that.
Beyond Melodia.
She keeps floating down. There's all these
The
bubbles.
club.
And then she finally lands in Bikini Bottom.
Can we talk about it for a second? Yes.
Yes.
Bikini Bottom is 100% what we call this place. But I feel it actually is really significant that they played the bittersweet
100%.
music.
Yes,
100%.
let's dig in.
Bittersweet music, that was a fantasy environment that allowed Xena and Gabrielle to work through their issues.
Yes.
Very easy to argue that Bikini Bottom is a fantasy environment for Gabrielle to
Bikini
work
Bottom
through her issues.
Right.
So
It's
this
from
is like
SpongeBob.
crossing the threshold, if you want to go Joseph Campbell with it. This music and this, movement through the sea is Gabrielle being reborn as if from a womb in a new world.
Yeah.
There, we're doing it. We're
No,
doing it.
that's accurate as to what happened on screen. As well, while you were saying that, I said SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Bikini Bottom. I just wanted to make sure that anybody who didn't know what Bikini Bottom was, it's a reference to SpongeBob SquarePants.
Right. SpongeBob SquarePants premiered at the Kid Choice Awards in 1999, May 1st, 1999. So
Xena did it first.
Xena did it first.
Xena did it first?
Xena invented
SpongeBob.
SquarePants.
They invented,
SquarePants.
they invented
I mean,
it.
that's huge.
That's huge.
That's a huge Xena did it first.
And
And remember, Crabs and Gabs, my spin-off.
Right, so Xena was already circling this drain a whole season earlier.
so Rob said that he had some kind of ideas for doing an underwater show.
He wanted to do kind of like The Simpsons.
But underwater.
Of course he would want it underwater. He's Rob
So
Tapper.
he invented SpongeBob SquarePants,
He
but
did.
didn't get to it.
Yes, exactly.
That's a bummer.
I mean, he did
was on
get to it. This was him getting
This
to
was
it.
him getting to
He
it.
decided it didn't work based on this.
Based on the reactions,
To
he's
this.
wrong. Rob, you're wrong. This is working so great.
I would have loved to see the Ren Pix underwater show based on this episode. The
God.
weird mythology.
I don't want to see a whole show about it.
I do.
No, only if it's animated, I guess.
I would just like to add that we have just gotten to Bikini Bottom, and I am having another drink. So
Yeah, this is a party podcast.
just keep that in
Just
mind.
because we need it. Because we
I
are
don't
in
need
the
it.
club.
I could have done this podcast stone cold sober. I
I
chose not
agree.
to.
I just think that it's better for our audience.
We just want to be in the club. That's all.
That's
like
all.
I
That's
do.
all.
Aqua size, ladies. Aqua size.
Okay.
And push.
So
and
she's.
push.
Oh no. So she wakes up.
Yes, she wakes up, and so this is, I think, supposed to kind of like mirror with Xena waking up in Illusia.
In Illusia, yeah, you have the
with,
kind of slow
yeah.
assimilation.
Right, but Callisto is there to greet her, or whatever she was.
Gabrielle is not so lucky.
No, so...
But at the same time, this is who was there to greet Gabrielle when she
That's
washed
true, yes.
ashore in Illusia.
What a great parallel, I suppose.
Thanks, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
So she wakes up and immediately everything's like weird. She doesn't
I
remember
love the
anything.
lens flare.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally wrote that down. They're these pink, and I don't know how many sides they are, so I can't say the shape of them to be exact, but it's like a pink-white lens flare that's really cool. Looks kind of scaly. Looks really cool.
Do you
It's
think
very
this is
pretty.
where J.J. Abrams learned about lens flares?
Yeah.
When
Xena did it first.
Orsi and Chrisman were like, you know, we
Hey.
did lens
Yeah.
flares
An
one
episode
time.
with
and,
a lens flare. It was
Yeah.
great. It's like we have them to blame.
Yep.
Anyway, it's really actually very nice looking.
Yeah, it's strange and beautiful.
It's
I think at this
really
moment
great.
you can point to it and be like, this feels in part because you have the bittersweet music,
Right.
a little bit bittersweet.
Yeah,
you know,
something
this-
is just, very different, very new.
You feel like you're taking a step into a whole new world.
it's a whole new world.
glittery.
Yes.
Yeah.
She also has a mermaid tail.
That's true indeed.
She has orange eyeshadow and a giant fake-looking wig.
Right, so her hair is immediately different. She
Yes.
has the tail.
It's a big B-52s bouffant
Yep.
crazy thing.
But it's wet, so it's like a little odd.
Later, well, yeah, that's how
Yeah, that's
everybody
true. It's
looks.
hard, it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
when
right
it's
now you
wet
can't
here.
tell.
Yeah, she's greeted also by a man in a Hawaiian shirt. And
That man looks like Joxer.
Indeed.
Right, yeah.
But
it is
is
Ted
not.
Raimi.
Yes, it is
certainly Ted
played by
Raimi.
Ted Raimi, this man.
He is so terrifying in this opening
yeah.
scene.
I agree.
He's like looming over her, and then he like fixes her hair a little bit, and he's like, "You took a nasty spill."
Right.
like,
Immediately it's a
creepy
little,
as
yes.
fuck.
There's
yes.
a lot of elements in
Right.
this that
It-
are creepy.
He's very possessive and smug
This is in general or right off the bat?
right off the bat.
Well, okay, so when she sees the mermaid tail, right, she is like shocked.
We get the psycho
music
cue
happens,
for
yes,
the mermaid
yes.
tail. So this is
Wow.
all, we should say this is all very horror movie.
Yeah.
It's a low light situation. You get the and then she looks down and there's this moment of body horror.
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
She sees her mermaid tail.
Right, because, body horror is an interesting thing, because, like, we were talking about it, like, they chose to portray these tails, the mermaid tails, as sort of, like, realistic.
Yes, very
So,
much so.
I remember being horrified when I came to America and I saw this thing called MTV, and one of the videos that was popular at the time was Madonna's Cherish.
Oh.
And they were mermaids, and it scared the shit out of me.
Wow.
You were scared of the
That was the
tails.
first time I saw Mermaid, because I didn't know The Little
Wow,
Mermaid
that's
or anything.
cool.
And you know, the original Hans Christian Andersen is so fucked up.
Yeah,
So
really,
it's something
really,
to be
really
scared
terrifying.
of, I
think-
would say.
I think Ariel would have been, like, benefited from these rules that they set up here for the mermaids.
Yeah.
Which
These
is
are the rules from Splash.
Splash
These
rules.
are Splash
Yes.
rules.
Yes.
I was about to go in. There are a few cinematic
Influences.
Oh no, you can leave that in if you'd like.
Yeah, the
Just because
influence.
I really have had a few painkillers at this point. There are a few cinematic influences for this episode, for sure. Plot-wise, I don't think it really has much to do with anything, but Splash was a huge movie in my childhood. It's a Ron Howard movie from 1984. Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah. Daryl Hannah is a mermaid. And I really, while we're talking about her tail and the rules, where it's like you have feet and legs on land and then
A tail in the
water. I absolutely loved this moment in Splash. If you haven't seen Splash, like, so Daryl Hannah, she's on land, she has legs, and she's hanging out with Tom Hanks, and there's this scene where where she wants to kind of be a mermaid again, and takes a very iconic can of Morton salt. I don't know what you call it. It's not really a
Salt.
can, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like
puts it in the tub, then gets in the tub, and her legs, there's a special effect where her legs turn into this mermaid tail, and it's very strange, and it, like, looks very realistically like if you had a mermaid tail, for instance, like, it would look like this. And it very much reminded me of that, because the texture of it is weird. Like, it is very fish-like and strange. It's not like a cartoonish thing. It looks like a fish. And it's weird. And a lot of things in this episode, I think that maybe people don't like, are this feeling of being really unsettled.
I mean, that's a really good word for this whole episode.
Strange.
Would you call it Freud's conception of the uncanny?
Sure, indeed, I would.
Because that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy, this Ted Raimi guy, his name is Hagar. Why is he called that?
I mean, my immediate association is the comic strip, Hagar the Horrible. So, in other words, whenever he's like, I'm Hagar, you say the horrible.
Okay, but it's just, like, it's weird because I feel like that doesn't have anything to do with this world that they're setting up or, like, any kind of... Like, everybody else has, like, a fishy name and he has Hagar. Is he a merman or is he... What is he?
That is a question I had about all the men in Bikini Bottom, which is... You know, do they have
never
fish
go
tails?
in, except for that one guy in the beater on the TV.
That's right.
In the window.
Yeah,
the
so we understand
that
men can have tails. Presumably they are mermen, but it seems very gendered that women go in the water and men do not.
Of course.
I like your Zoolander right there.
It'll come back.
A merman. Hagar makes me think of Harry from Deja Vu all over again.
And the actual spelling of it, like Harry, Hagar.
Yeah, like that's my immediate association.
Oh, sorry, I just
is Ted Raimi as Harry, which, you know, he was an abusive boyfriend.
He was way better than this. This guy goes total amnesia, huh? That's perfect. Perfectly awful. Like,
no, this guy is obviously the worst, but Harry was sort of like a stepping stone to this guy.
Okay.
What's interesting about Harry is, if you remember Deja Vu all over again, Harry turned out to be Xena.
Yeah.
This guy is not Xena.
Okay.
But I do think it's interesting to have that association. The last time you saw Ted Raimi kind of out of character, he was playing Harry. Now he's playing Hagar.
Okay, interesting. Interesting name scheme. It continues. I wonder if it'll ever come back.
The bad boyfriend. This is what Ted Raimi does when he's not playing Joxer.
Interesting. What a weird thing to be typecast as.
I mean,
okay, so... This whole first scene is presented as a horror show, like literally a horror show, because we have the psycho music, we have like the scary tale, and we have like the creepy boyfriend immediately. So then he like introduces, so she's
the
Christacia.
kids and I were worried.
Right. So the kids are introduced at that point.
Our kids!
So, okay, they literally are a horror show, right?
I hate
them. They are in the dark. They're literally like looming out of the dark.
And frozen.
It's a single shot. The camera just like pans from kid to kid to kid, and it's just like horror of horrors of horrors. And each of them is like making just like
a weird
face.
Why are they doing that?
I don't, because they're fish, but also they're terrifying.
It's meant to be scary.
It's meant to be scary.
I mean,
and this is important because I feel like a lot of people reacting to this episode act like these kids are presented to you as cute.
What?
No.
Excuse me. Only
Watch
one
this
of them
again.
Only one of these kids is cute.
And that kid is also presented as terrifying.
Because she makes a little with her little tentacles.
And goes like,
and that's evil.
Okay, she's, yes.
We'll get there.
My fave.
We're not there yet.
Not there yet. So we have 3 kids. We have Flipper. Mm-hmm. He's like half seal.
I hate it.
He's the worst.
I really hate it.
He's the oldest and the worst.
He's the most creepy.
Then you have Urchin, who's like a
Urchin has like a human boy face, but then like with spiny protrusions.
Urchin is
a very obvious cap.
Yeah.
with
He has
spikes.
Yeah.
spiky cap.
Yes. Meanwhile, Flipper has to wear like a little seal nose.
It has a Planet of the Apes.
Yes, he has like
vibe,
the
makeup.
nose.
Yeah.
Yes, but then instead of hands, he has of course
They get a
Flipper.
lot of comedy mileage out of the flippers.
They sure do. And then the youngest one.
Oh,
Who
my
could forget
goodness.
a baby Ro?
Little baby Ro.
could.
Let's talk about Baby Ro.
Please. I feel like we've been waiting our whole lives to talk about Baby Ro.
The greatest character on all
Ever
of
been
Xena.
on television.
Oh, yes, you're right.
This
all
was
of television canon.
Number one, let's point out this is an idea that someone had. First of all,
They spent money creating
I think
multiple,
a lot of money.
multiple
A lot of
versions
money.
of this. This is not a real baby.
You
No.
say?
so Baby Ro, on the off chance you haven't seen this episode and you're listening to this, is a animatronic octopus in
Work
some
of genius.
capacity.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll allow
don't
it.
I watched, when we first watched this, I watched the whole episode. And then at the end, I literally went, oh, she's an octopus because it's Ro, Fish Ro. Because I didn't understand what she was.
I mean, I still don't exactly understand what she was. There will later be a line where Sturgina says, and Baby Ro, nobody knows what Baby Ro is.
Right.
What exactly she is. Yeah.
Could be squid.
No, she's like either. I mean, she's like
She has a
squid,
little
like,
bit of starfish, a little
No,
bit of
she's not a star.
squid.
Listen, she's 100% something that produces Ro. When you go to like,
she's definitely octopus.
when you go to your sushi restaurant, you eat Baby Ro.
Her design is very dinosaurs, I would say. The television program Dinosaurs. There's something about
Inspired
the
by-
heavy lidded
Yes.
eyes.
The eyes are straight up stolen from that show.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you are not familiar, in the mid 90s, there was again it like similar to Married with Children
Yes.
and The Simpsons.
Yes.
There was a kind of satire of a sitcom
Right.
called Dinosaurs, which starred actors in dinosaur costumes.
Yes, it was a working class family, but they were dinosaurs.
I loved it. It ends real crazy.
it's
100%. It was on TGIF.
Yes. Thank
So-
God it's Friday.
And I had a crush on the teenage son.
Oh my God, he was hot.
He was hot.
And
there
I
was
love the baby.
the baby, yeah,
The
is
baby is
inspiration
clearly
for
Baby
Ro.
Ro.
Whoa, my mind is
So
blown.
the
you
baby
guys.
from Dinosaur who
is Baby Ro.
everyone listening is obviously a fan of
yeah.
because everybody watched Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Everybody loved the baby.
Yeah,
Because
he had diapers.
I'm the baby, gotta love me was the song.
Not the mama, not the mama.
We're making so many amazing parallels. I'm just so
I know.
proud of
Did you
us.
realize
Your mind's
that
already
like
blown.
this podcast is making me appreciate this genius episode even more? It's like rising higher for me, and it was already at the top.
So Baby Ro, when introduced, the boys are all doing these like horror faces.
Yeah.
Baby Ro kind of like
Creates
flicks her
an O.
tentacle into an O and goes.
Right.
To mirror that.
I feel like she's kind of going like, "What's up?" But you're
Okay.
right. She's actually trying to like do a mouth.
Yeah, she's trying because her mouth, the puppet's mouth, does not do that literally.
I mean,
so.
they have to switch out the mouth to another mouth in order for that mouth to move at all. So
So good. Okay, so Crustacea passes out.
she's Gabs.
She's Gabs.
She's not Crustacea.
Yes, right. So, let's just say what it is. Later it'll be revealed. But Hagar is married to Crustacea, who looks exactly like Gabrielle.
A Gabrielle
Look-alike.
Her lookalikes are very strange.
Yes.
They're like clones
Hope.
and Hope and this.
Yeah.
But this doesn't really exist. It's like her dream. Except,
it?
But is
What
it?
is it?
So,
But for now, let's talk about it like it's a dream.
so Crustacea is like, fuck all of this, and walks right out of there.
She
But
leaves that dude because he sucks.
She leaves that dude and those kids because everything sucks
They all
for her.
suck.
They all suck. So she just like
She's
pieces
gone.
out. She
We
wants to do eat, pray,
We
love.
get one precious, beautiful glimpse of Crustacea, but otherwise she's like a mystery. We don't really know who this character is.
Wait, when do we get a glimpse of her?
It's called Lolita.
Oh no, but that was
That's
that was
Crustacea.
actually
Crustacea.
Crustacea.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, we'll get there. That was like the best.
That blew your mind.
Yeah. She leaves him, so he needs to get this like lookalike as a replacement because he's trying to get on the council.
Right.
In the elections.
You need
the
to be
council
happily
loves
married.
the family values,
Right.
but only in a very superficial way.
Right. So
It's superficial way, but in the same way as like most politics. It's
right,
actually
exactly.
very pointed.
You have
like,
to have a wife.
It's
you have to
actually
have
a very
kids.
pointed.
Yes, it's amazing commentary.
Yeah. I mean, well, some of the gender politics that we'll
Yeah.
see in this place continue to be relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why he's like, great. She has total amnesia because she was in this accident. So let's continue to like gaslight her about this.
Yeah.
Your
He's-
crustacean.
My
Can you
actual
coin
wife
for
left
gaslight?
me. Yes, coin for gaslight. He is going to take this substitute woman and just kind of make her his wife.
Yeah.
This, we should note, is the plot of a famous romantic comedy
Wow. Okay.
of the 80s.
That this episode is based on.
That this
Yeah.
episode is based on. If you want to find one particular movie that this episode is based on, it's a pastiche, so it's actually kind of hard to find one thing that is kind of the plot of this. But I would say the closest you can find is Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell.
I love them.
Is that where they became a couple?
No, they had already been a
Okay,
couple.
just
This is just
checking.
something they did for funsies.
Okay.
Which is, he plays a carpenter who goes on board a yacht, and she is the rich lady who owns the yacht, and she's mean to him. He's like, this sucks. You're mean and rich. And then, like, she falls off the yacht and has amnesia.
She falls overboard?
Yeah, she falls overboard
And gets amnesia.
and gets amnesia. And he goes to the hospital and says, that's my wife.
Wow.
Because his wife has died, and he's like, I don't have a wife, and my kids are suffering, and like my house is dirty, and I need someone to like clean
Because I can't.
it because I can't.
Wow, this is like reverse plot of While You Were Sleeping.
Yes,
A good romantic comedy.
good air quotes.
No, it is.
So he like goes to the hospital, like collects her like she's a piece of luggage, and takes her home and makes her his glorified housekeeper slash
God.
wife. And in fact, there is a scene where he plays on the fact that she's his wife and doesn't really want to be his wife because in some part of her brain she remembers being a
Right.
rich lady who had nothing to do with this guy. And like he like kind of tries to have sex with her, and she's like, I don't like this. This is horrifying. And he's like, LOL, just kidding. I'm still the romantic lead of this movie, and I'm meant to be likable. And you're like, yes, rape fantasies are very funny. Thank you.
Coin.
Wow.
So
yeah.
that's
Them coins.
Overboard, which is, like I said, the closest template for what this episode is about.
Wow.
But it must be said that this episode is very conscious of Overboard's problems. Overboard presents this scenario as a romantic comedy. By the end of it, Goldie Hawn is going to realize that Kurt Russell is a catch, and she's going to give up her rich life on the yacht to be with him.
That's insanity.
I mean, he is Kurt Russell.
No thanks.
But in
That sounds
this,
awful.
Kurt Russell is not only taking advantage of
Is he still gross
crustaceans.
by the end of it? Like,
No.
he sounds gross.
He's not gross.
Did
at
she make
all.
over
He's
him?
never gross.
So
That's
you,
what's horrifying.
the viewer
He's-
of Overboard, know that he's he's a nice guy. Like,
yeah,
you know
from the
he's-
beginning,
okay.
not only do you like sympathize with him, like she was mean to him because she's a rich bitch on a yacht. So you're like, oh yeah, you teach that rich bitch who's boss.
Oh,
like
no.
that's the
Okay.
vibe. It's very disturbing. You're never supposed to stand back and be like, oh no, dude, like
Oh,
that
shit.
That lady with amnesia in the hospital is not your property. Like,
no.
you're supposed to be like, yes, you teach her a valuable life lesson so that she can learn to love you. Like, no, this is a bad movie. I think it's worth saying that Married with Fishsticks, despite literally Xeroxing this plot, is very conscious of how gross it is.
It is, but like at the same time, they do. Well, we'll get to it. Like the thing with Hagar as the character, we'll discuss.
It's gonna evolve,
Yeah.
and it's gonna kind of follow the script of a rom-com where he like learns a lesson.
Yeah,
but
and like, are you
you're
supposed
meant
to
be
forgive
like,
him?
Did he learn it? I don't know. We're gonna talk about it, but I would just like to point out that as we will see as Hagar goes along, he's way more textually gross than Kurt Russell. Like he
Okay.
is
actively a disgusting, gaslighting, abusive man.
Right, and in an obvious way.
In an obvious way.
Yeah.
Like, this episode kind of has this guy's number. I mean, just look at him, like, in that first scene where he's like, "Oh, nasty spill. Are you okay?"
Right,
Like,
right.
he's a creepazoid.
So, I mean, speaking of him being a creepazoid, right? So, like, she passes out after seeing those kids because
Oh my
it's
God.
so scary. She wakes up in a waterbed because the 90s.
So this is what I love. I love that it opens up on her feet.
Yeah,
Like,
she has
and
feet.
she like pulls the covers back
Right.
and her feet are there.
And she's like, oh my God, great. It's not scary anymore.
She's like, "Oh my God, it was a dream, but it was so weird."
And-
She literally says that. She's like, "This is so weird." And
She
you're like,
has-
"Girl, you haven't seen it yet."
an amazing mani-pedi.
Yeah.
Yes. Is it orange to match her outfit?
I think so.
Yeah, because Jane Holland based all of the characters, like, they had their own colors scheme. And that's how the costumes and stuff worked.
We got to the credits. We've done 6 minutes.
This is going at the speed that it takes me to do my notes.
Fine.
Literal, real time. Okay. So when she wakes up in the bed, checks her legs, and Hagar comes in, and he's all creepy, and he's like, "Time to take your medicine."
Awful.
So, do you guys think this is a reference to the Alfred Hitchcock classic
Notorious?
Notorious.
Considering our simultaneous saying of
It
the
must
word
be.
notorious, I would
Yeah.
agree.
Which
Again,
is about
genius.
a husband poisoning his wife. And that's fun.
Absolutely.
She's like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is gonna help you get on your feet faster." And so she's like, "Great,
Cool,
Let me
I'll
drink
drink
it all.
it."
Let me just drink that right up."
This
We
is
gotta
me.
immediately have a shout out for the production design. 'Cause
Yes,
this whole
yes.
bedroom set is fantastic.
Love it.
Everything about this whole episode
Okay.
is fantastic.
There-
But like in terms of production design, every single set is a masterpiece.
Would
Just
I live
little
in their house?
details.
Yes.
You would live there?
Yeah, the little details. Like, they really, really thought about this, which is why it bums me out so much that it's number one hated, because even though, yes, it's the way that it is, there's so much, like, stuff that went into this. So, like, number one, constant lighting that has that pool reflective surface, like surface water. I don't know where it's coming from.
But it's there.
Everywhere.
But it's gorgeous. It's all over the walls. And then they have a crazy headboard.
Oh yeah, it's like a garden, right? You see like this kind of like seaweedy, lichen, all this
It's the same-
greenery.
Yeah. And the color scheme, just like the pastels and greens and blues.
And then like spots of like purples and reds and pinks.
This is just this set you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause there's like so
this
many.
is throughout their house,
Yeah.
but it's true that like in this bedroom alone, you can just look at like point to 6 different things where you're like, oh my god, that's like a giant fungus, and oh my
Yeah.
god, the coral reef, and there's like
Yeah.
a strand of pearls just draped over that. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
pearls are an aquatic theme.
I think in their living room they have all these pillows on their couch that are starfish.
It's funny because later Gabs is going to be like, oh my god, this place is a sty, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This
I know.
place is
What a
amazing.
weird, what a weird thing to say. Yeah. Okay, so she drinks the stuff, and then he tries to kiss her a bunch.
He like kind of like
He does
ripples
like
the water
He
bed.
does like insinuating waterbed movement.
Don't do that.
I said, yeah, I wanted one so badly in the 90s. Couldn't.
Because this makes it look so good.
Well, this doesn't, but just like knowing people who had one, that was like the shit back then. I couldn't afford it. So, Mulder had one, as you
Yes,
recall.
he
Yes,
did.
very infamous, and it did.
And he
it
also
meant
wanted-
it met
yeah.
a bad fate, didn't it?
It did. It did.
It
Yeah,
did.
that was the problem. It could always burst.
So yeah, Hagar is immediately being extremely creepy and aggressive. He like
Yeah.
kind of like keeps trying to kiss Gabrielle,
Right.
And she at one point kind of covers his face with her hand, and that's
Yeah.
when she realized, wait, I don't have a wedding ring.
Well, that was really great. Like all the like kind of movements and blocking in the scene was great. He would always try to like kiss her, and she would block him, but like not with the palm of her hand, but with the back of her hand, being like, "Where's the wedding ring?
Where's that ring?
How
Put
are
a
you
ring
my
on
husband?"
this.
You know, and he'd be like, "Oh, you lost it in the tidal wave. We'll just get you another one. It's no big deal."
She is very concerned about how they had these children. She does not like to think that she had sex with Hagar. Which
Also, birthed weird seal babies.
that's true. I don't know
and
how
then the
that.
little octopus.
I don't want to know how that works. That's as bad as centaur babies.
Yes.
That's definitely bad.
Oh,
I don't like it.
He assures her they had them the old-fashioned way. They earn them.
I don't
Which
like it.
I'm going to put a coin in for that because I don't know what that means, and I just like it.
She's like, maybe amnesia's not a bad thing after all.
Oh, that gets a coin for sure. Oh my God, help.
I hope everyone listening is having fun.
This must be said, this is meant to be nightmarish.
It is.
This is horrifying.
I
This
think-
is bad.
I really agree, and I think that everyone needs to definitely consider that as an overlay for this episode.
Yeah.
That it's
This
supposed to be...
It's a horror show.
This is heteronormativity, kind of like sitcom lifestyle as nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, these are children that you don't remember having. This is a husband who is extremely rapey. This is absolutely a nightmare. And it is worth saying that this episode is presenting it as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next scene doesn't really help the case because
No.
we have our number one Al Bundy moment from Married with Children.
Right.
It's Hagar sitting on the couch. He has the hand in the
His hand
pants.
in his pants.
That's the not like in a like jerking off way.
No,
it's
just there.
In, like
Just
doing
under the waistband.
Like when you had too much turkey at Thanksgiving, that thing.
Yeah,
but
throwing a
that's
coin in.
but that's Al Bundy's trademark move.
He's
And-
watching the mermaid equivalent of the television.
Right, we said that was the reality TV he was watching.
Oh, yes. It is literally reality TV.
Yeah. So, boy, this was
There's a
scene.
lot of mileage in this episode from fish and aquatic-based puns.
Yeah, all of it.
I like them generally. Because it's just so absurd. I don't like what's happening here in the sense that he is watching like the people, technically actual people.
Yeah, he's
swimming
people
outside.
watching or mermaid watching.
They're just swimming
it's
by
not like
his
he's
home.
watching
Yeah.
TV.
They're
No.
hanging out, but
But
swimming by
he's
his
like turned on by all this stuff.
Yeah, so he's like, ooh, nice tail.
But I laughed at that because
Right.
I am problematic and I like a pun.
he's like, no, that's what I call a lungfish when you see some like, booby mermaid. And then this dude, there's one
Your mileage
merman.
varies on
Merman. He has a wife beater on.
Oh, I didn't register
And
that.
like a tail.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, so you could be like, that's a man.
That's an article of clothing that should be renamed.
Yeah. So
It makes
and
me think, though, of how Hagar himself, when he goes kind of clothless, he's wearing that mesh tank top.
yeah.
It's like a privilege of men that they can wear these kind of slightly revealing clothes, whereas women are just like, no. Like,
Slightly revealing
You're
clothes.
wearing a bra.
But did you want to be seeing Hagar in that sheer tank top?
I was very like, oh no, with that
Yeah.
mesh. I was like, no. But
Wasn't that like one of the outfits from like Night of the Roxbury, the movie?
it 100% is.
At the Roxbury?
What is it called?
Like,
really?
at the Roxbury.
Yeah. What did I say?
Night.
Of the Roxbury.
Night at the Roxbury. What is love?
No. How dare you?
okay.
So
Sorry.
speaking of all this problematic stuff, then you have Gabrielle standing in front of the porthole.
Right.
And you get this really male gazy shot
Yeah.
of just her torso. With,
She
like,
changed,
you
right?
can't
That's
see
her
her
outfit.
head. Yeah, now you see her full crustacea outfit,
Yeah.
which is like
Orange
orange
bikini.
and it doesn't leave a lot to the imagination.
But just you appreciate a really good abs shot.
You do,
It's
but
Renee's abs.
this is the
Full-
this is, I
full
think,
view.
a shot that really is male
Yeah.
gaze because this is Joxer / Hagar
Sure.
looking at her,
Yes.
and he doesn't even see her face.
Yeah, when
Right.
you have a very explicit point of view portrayed, and then also you're actually dissecting someone's body to not include their entire person and just focusing in on
Right. But it's
And he's
supposed to
just
be.
been jacking off to like
He was
some
not
mermaids
jacking off.
doesn't
He
He
was-
know.
wasn't. He
audience.
wasn't.
That's right.
He was not
but he
jacking
was
off.
gonna get
He
there.
was not. He was just appreciating
He
the
wasn't.
view. It was just it was just yes.
It's literally just the thing.
It's supposed to be that she gets in front of him being like, why are you looking at them when you couldn't be looking at me? I'm your wife.
Yeah.
That thing.
Watch me as I clean your house.
Well, she doesn't know about that yet.
She doesn't know about that yet.
She complains that the house is dirty. This is where she's like, this house is a sty. Where we're like, no, it's not. But, he's like, well, great. You get to clean.
He's so happy to finally have someone to clean the house again. You feel that this is really, and this is right out of the movie Overboard, where he's like, great, finally I have help to just clean my shit. And
Right.
he hands her a mop and is just like, yay, go to town.
Right.
And she's very skeptical of this whole situation. And she's like, did we have a happy marriage? And he's like, happy as clams, and slaps her ass. Like, really hard.
Yeah.
She's feeling it for like 30 seconds
She has
afterwards.
to jump
Yeah.
from it. Also, we didn't mention that like when he's like Al Bundy watching the porthole like with the mermaid swim by, Jolo does a really good like sexy like saxophone cue.
Cholo's having a lot of fun.
Yeah,
with
this is like really.
I mean, it must be said, everybody is.
Everyone's having a lot of
production
fun.
design,
Totally.
camera,
Costumes,
Jolo
yeah.
costume. Everybody is
Actors
having a great time.
Yes.
And I think that's something to bear in mind while
Yeah.
watching this, is that this is a great opportunity for everybody to do something different and enjoy it.
Okay. Now we get to a really insane thing, which is that her kids are murderous. They keep hanging her upside down by her feet in these traps.
And did they do this to Crustacea? They must have.
They must
Yeah,
have. That's why she
probably
left.
why she left.
Yeah, this is 100%
But it's
what they did.
crazy that this is happening.
And this reminds me, Katie, of what you just said about the male gaze. You know, when you're deliberately cutting off someone's head to kind of appreciate their body. This is sort of what the lasso trap situation is doing. You can't really see her head. Like,
Yeah.
you're just kind of seeing her body.
The music is just gone bonkers at this point. I just don't know. So I have this very specific reference that I would like to make before I forget real quick. So like anybody who has been to any Disney park and has been either on the Little Mermaid ride, which I believe is in California and in Florida, and then also Finding Nemo ride in Epcot
Oh my
in Florida.
God.
This episode, to me, has a very specific aesthetic that reminds me of being on those rides, but also contains the feeling of being stuck on it.
With the music still going and the
Yeah, both rides, you're in a clamshell that looks very much like the aesthetic of this episode. You're sitting, you're riding along in the clam. And if you get stuck on a ride, for a while, everything just keeps repeating, and you start to feel like you're going a little bit loopy. And that's how I feel about this episode.
And we should say that you have been stuck on
I have. I was
this ride.
stuck on Finding Nemo, the Nemo ride in Epcot, and I was specifically, if you know, and I know there are people listening who know exactly what I'm talking about, so I will describe. It's in the part where you're in the East Australia Current, which is actually nothing like this episode, but it's a big giant screen full of lots of bubbles, and it's the most awful I've ever felt being stuck on a ride. So I wouldn't say that it feels like that, but I feel like it just, there's something very specific to me, and I wanted to just mention that, and we can move on now.
So it must be said that, okay, Gabrielle's trapped in this trap.
Right.
The boys are kind of doing a war dance around her. Meanwhile, Baby Ro has like a lever.
Yeah, she's controlling it.
She's in charge of this hazing ritual.
Yeah.
They did an amazing job with the expressions on this thing.
Baby Ro!
Baby Ro, the star of this episode.
She looks so evil sometimes.
And that's when I get like so disappointed in her. Baby Ro, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
I want the best for Baby Ro.
I can't believe you did
You
that. But
can
she's
tell.
peer pressured by her brothers. That's the thing.
I
She
think
does
she
not want to be
controls
doing
them.
it. No, she does not control them. This was a peer pressure situation. Because when Hagar makes the kids like let down their mom, he like literally introduces them at that point, right? He's like, that's Flipper, that's Urchin, and that's little Baby Ro. And Baby Ro's like, Mama.
That's true.
But then she does like a face hugger situation.
Yeah.
Just jumps right
Baby
at her
Ro
face.
is, we should say, is half octopus, half face hugger from
Yeah,
Alien.
yeah.
That's absolutely Baby Ro's DNA. So yeah, we get the introductions of the children. We find out that Flipper is the wiseacre of
Right.
the group.
that urchin is the curious one.
Budding pervert.
Pervert.
Yeah, he's like, what's a sphincter? Which I loved.
You laughed because you're a budding pervert. And then who could forget little baby Ro? We know we won't forget.
I mean, that's like the one thing I remember about Xena Warrior Princess, the show, Baby Ro.
And yeah, I think that bit where Baby Ro says "Mama," it's like an insanely close up of just Baby Ro's weird face, which doesn't really look like a baby. It sort of looks like a very old person's face. I don't even know how to describe the face of Baby Ro.
It's perfect.
But this is like a nightmare.
It's like the Mona Lisa?
No. This is not as ambiguous as that. This is nightmare.
This is where I would like to bring up, as a fan of Xena Warrior Princess, and I'm also assuming people listening are fans of Xena Warrior Princess, when you're trying to get people to watch the whole show for the first time, what do you say about this episode?
This episode.
Mm-hmm.
But you're assuming that they've watched all 5 seasons already.
My perception is that people are very embarrassed that this exists.
Yeah.
Oh,
but wait a second.
Should be.
You've already encountered a gazillion embarrassing episodes.
There's so much more embarrassing. I mean, for one thing, it's both a blessing and a curse that Lucy Lawless isn't in this. I think that's a lot of the reason that people don't like this, because I think in general you could look at the episodes that don't have Lucy and they are, for whatever reason, not very well rated. Like, we kind of wrestled with this with the plays The Thing.
Okay.
Which we liked a lot.
Yeah.
But people don't like that.
This one's better.
Want...
I would prefer this because I like it because it makes you rest your brain. I'm telling you, have a drink, watch this episode.
Have 10 drinks.
You're out of like ancient Greece. You're in a special world. It's its own thing. Mm-hmm. It's its own thing. It's
this
not
episode
part of anything.
does not have Lucy in it. I think people don't like that. I understand why people don't like that. But at the same time, I do think this is an episode in which you can really see Gabrielle working through a nightmare situation.
Yeah,
like from her
course.
deepest subconscious. Like, what would it be like to be married to a man and to have children? Mm-hmm. Like, this is literally the worst possible scenario of that. Like, this is the life she would have if she wasn't with Xena.
Think of the weirdest, awfulest dreams you've ever had, and this is Gabrielle's.
Are these
and
babies,
we're watching it.
Wait, are these babies like worse than Hope?
I think that's something we should be thinking about. These are monstrous babies.
Oh my god. Is Baby Ro modeled off of the Destroyer?
I think Baby Ro is like a combination of Eve, the Destroyer, and Hope.
Oh my god.
I think she is.
Okay, remember how this episode was like rising higher because it was number 1 for me?
It's like
it was
bursting through.
It was like in heaven. Like now it like it's even above that.
But like, I can't emphasize enough that this is a nightmare situation for Gabrielle. Like, Gabrielle is married to a man who looks like Joxer, who is 1,000 times creepier than Joxer. Mm-hmm. She has these children who are like literal monsters.
Yes.
You look at Hope, who was a monster but kind of didn't look like one.
Right,
and
like her.
That was
her
Gabrielle's
child
issue,
was a monster,
was
physical monster.
Right. She looked at that child and said, "This is a sweet little baby. I want to love it," even though later she was to become accustomed to the fact that this is a monster, an evil creature. Here she has like actual monstrous babies who like look like monsters, but like
learn to love
once you get to know them.
Right, yeah.
So I do think...
Oh, and it follows her thing where she was like, Xena, if I just raise Hope, I can make her better.
That's exactly what Gabrielle is going to decide to do with these monster babies.
And it works.
And it works.
So, I mean, again, this is a fantasy of what Gabrielle feels like she could do for monster babies. And monster babies are a product of just like a heteronormative relationship. Like, in Gabrielle's mind now, if she was to have sex with a man, this is what would happen.
Wow.
So,
this is just so
this is Married
kind of
with
amazing.
Fishsticks.
This is why this episode, number 1.
So my favorite bit is that Ro is like, "Mama," and then you cut to Gabrielle's reaction shot, and she's like, "Yeah." It's like this awkward, like, "Okay, great." And then you get the whole face hugger situation,
Right,
where
yeah.
Ro like jumps
Yes.
onto her.
And it's like a physical
some
comedy.
tentacle humor.
Right. Physical comedy situation for Renee. You know, it's like when the bunny from A Horrible Foot Rot
That's true.
attacks her
It's
face.
100% the same vibe.
But she does it with like a little squid on her face. So they're interrupted by like a doorbell, which really great little design thing. It sounds like a steamship's.
I thought like the foghorn, right?
Right,
Yeah.
but like, you know, from like a cruise ship or something, like honking.
Yeah. And it turns out to be their doorbell.
That's their doorbell noise.
It's so cute.
Which is so great. And Hagar goes to check out what's going on over there. Their door like literally opens up to the sea. So like what you see is two mermaids. Ooh la la.
I thought this was great because the first shot of the two mermaids was through the peephole. So you get this kind of distortion of the peephole. And it was really persuasive. I was like, they are floating in the sea and vamping. And
Yep.
It's
like
cool.
it's a great bit of world
I would
building.
like to know how the door works, with, like the force field that keeps the water.
There's a force field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and they can just cross through.
Right, and we saw that. That's a really cool effect. They're floating as mermaids. There's a force field. Hagar lets them in, and they become women.
Yeah.
We meet our two new like heroines here, Crabella and Sturgina.
And they are
Discord
Aphrodite
and
and
Aphrodite.
Discord.
Yes.
Doing New York accents with giant Mars Attacks bouffants.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. I like that you said Mars Attacks.
That
when
was
we
my-
were like B-52s.
Yeah. All of that.
And
They do a bunch of plot.
yeah, they do a bunch of plot. This is where we find out that Crustacea left him and that like both of these women are obsessed with Hagar and want him as their own.
Which is
Insane.
insane
he's the
considering
worst.
how inadequate he
Yes.
is. Like he is a catch in this town. That makes you
That's a horrible
sad.
town. Yeah.
That makes you sad for Sturgina and Crabella.
And
This
for
entire plot is them fighting over this guy.
Mermanity? What's their
Yeah.
it's not humanity.
I despair for Mermanity.
It's really bad.
Like, this is all they want is to get with
Oh my Hagar.
Hagar.
They're like obsessed with him.
and not only that, but then this is him flirting with them, which is him literally doing a murder stare at them and being like, hand it over. I need the thing. I'll repay you. Like,
Right, yeah.
And it's like, honestly, it sounds like he's threatening them, but they're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, he's flirting. I love it. And you're
Right,
like,
yeah.
no.
They bring him the
Stinger, Stingray.
Is that what I'm drinking right now?
Yeah, you were drinking Stinger, Stingray. But Stingray, I'm doing it wrong because it has 3 syllables when Discord says it.
she's
Stingray.
this is not even like the scene where I was like, she is
The
killing it.
ultimate mind eraser.
She's amazing, and then we find out that she was like thrown by this accident, like had a really hard time becoming Fran Drescher,
Yeah,
as Grunderman said.
Grunderman said that it took them a while to get her on board with this. I think she's great at it.
She's better, I think, than Alex
she's
Tennant.
absolutely better than Alex. I mean, not to say that Alex is bad. Alex is super fun in this as well. But I think in part because we've seen so little of Discord.
We've seen Discord, and she's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And this is where she shines, I'm telling
the
you.
fact that it is a rickety accent is part of what's so endearing about it.
Her accent's spot on.
Absolutely delightful. So he explains that, as we've already said, he needs the mother for his children present if he's to win the election with the council. So he found this lookalike. He needs the Stingray solution
Right,
to
keep
continue
her
to...
as being an amnesiac.
Yeah.
He gives it to her. She drinks it up.
So this is what I meant to... oh, shit. But this is what I wanted to pinpoint for, like, how this episode is different from its source material, Overboard. Because Kurt Russell isn't feeding Goldie Hawn something to continue her amnesia. He's just exploiting a pre-existing condition. Whereas here, he's continuing the condition.
Right.
He is actively...
Gross.
like feeding her something to erase her memory. I mean, this is date rape.
Yeah.
Like,
gross.
this is very
terrible.
awful.
I can see why people don't like this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, but it leads to the best cleaning sequence ever. Okay, so Crustacea and Baby Roe equals little heart because this is like their little bonding moment, right? Katie, I remember we were watching it and we were trying to figure out if Baby Ro was a girl or a boy because we didn't know.
We were not sure.
Well, it is a girl.
It's a girl.
Yes, later.
There's only one reference
but you
to
were
Baby
like,
Ro being a girl.
right, and a little lady, and but at this time, like we didn't know, and you were like, oh, it's because like she's a girl because like they're both cleaning.
I said that, yeah,
because they are both cleaning.
Yeah, certainly the boys aren't helping. They'll help later though.
They do help later.
But this is the floor, and they
I
clean
like
the floor.
It's really pretty. It's got all these like pastel squares, shapes.
Yes.
Anyway,
So
Baby Ro and Gabrielle are both not doing the greatest job of cleaning.
no, because they're not cleaning.
Bonding.
Little
They're
stuff.
bonding.
Oh, I see.
It's just
it's
a little
not about cleaning.
cute bonding moment. So Gabs,
this is where I think it's fun, and then I get angry.
okay, Gabs
Okay.
starts mopping the floor, and then the mop is like this like shape that looks like Baby Ro, basically.
And
it's
it's made
like
out
a seaweed.
Of, yeah,
it's like a seaweed mop.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so she's like, soaping up the floor, and Baby Ro in her little tentacles has like the like French maid kind of like thingies that
the dusters.
the dusters, and so she's like helping out.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
At first you're like, is Baby Ro helping? And then you're like, Baby Ro's helping.
She's cute. Yeah, and then she's like smiling, and Gabs is smiling at her, and she's all like, Mama, and it's really cute.
I love the next scenario after that where Gabrielle is dusting and she like dusts Baby Ro's face.
They're bonding. It is
She does.
so heartwarming.
So let's just talk about how Renee O'Connor does a lot of really cute stuff with this
Puppet.
fucking strange octopus puppet. It's cute.
Listen.
And that's a feat.
Do you remember your favorite episode of Family Affair?
Yeah.
She did so
Didn't
much
this-
acting with
The
in
porcupine
Porcupine
monster.
Porcupine
I know.
Monster, yeah. Like so much.
I mean,
and he said
Baby Ro
Mama,
is
too.
porcupine monster.
Remember when
yeah,
he said
who
it?
would say mama?
Yeah.
No, this is 100% the monster baby.
Yeah.
This is like a remake of a Family Affair.
No.
Less spikes.
Fewer spikes.
No, don't say that.
There are some on
Urchin.
I hate you. I hate you both.
So now Esther, Gina, and Crawfia come in.
Yeah, they come back
And they're
they hear
like,
the doorbell.
you look just like her.
This is great. This is my favorite line maybe
so
of
great.
theirs because they're like trying to cover for saying that.
Yeah.
And because
She's like who?
Gab's version doesn't understand. And then so like she just goes like, I mean before the accident. It's my favorite line in the whole thing. I don't know why.
It's funny.
We thought there'd be more scar tissue.
Oh man.
This is intriguing because they explain that like her amnesia accounts for the fact that she has a new look.
Right.
Like
yeah.
apparently Crawfia would dress like this.
Well, she's kind of like, after she came out of the tile pool, like, she doesn't know how to make her hair the way that
Her
they
hair
do.
looks cute. It's got the 60s bouffant.
Yeah, but it's
happening.
like kind of like shitty and like whatever. She doesn't
Really?
know exactly
I
how
think
it
she looks
is.
fabulous.
You
It's
think
not-
that her style is worse than theirs and therefore is
It's like
signal
it's
to
like
them?
is
wilted. It's like
100%
everything is
better.
like wilted about her right now, right? When they go to the club,
Which they're about to do.
which they're about to do, you see that like they did her up the way Crawfia used
Oh,
to
I
do.
see.
Yes,
I see.
yes.
So they just kind of give the hair a little
Yes,
zhuzh.
they zhuzh it up.
Yeah.
She like Sturgina like puts a little like pin in it as soon as they get there. Yeah, everything is just right once they get there.
So now we see why she wasn't there today.
So Krabs and Sturge, they introduce themselves as her BFFs, and they remind her of her other love, the club.
The club.
So they do her up and they dress her as herself, as we mentioned. This is like making her hair be extra poofy and
Is this-
perfect.
What would you say the cultural reference point is for this? Is it 60s?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's
Okay.
like the...
Like a beach movie?
Yeah, beach movies.
Yeah, I was thinking the beach party movies. Yeah.
So the club, anyone who knows anyone belongs to the club.
Do you think it's exclusive because it's on land?
Oh.
Well, she makes, I forget which one, Krabs or Sturge makes that comment about how, like, they accept mermaids.
I didn't register that.
Seems kind of like...
So it's sort of a humans only club.
Humans only, but they're cool. They allow mermaids now.
Because you look human.
When you're out of there.
Humans live under the sea in this
Community.
Right. Okay.
So does that mean that Hagar could be a human?
Yeah, but how does he get to their house?
I don't know.
And then to the club.
And then
lot of
why are there
questions.
kids so many different fishes? Whatever.
Yeah, there's no explanation as to why their kids are an urchin, a squid, and a sea lion.
I always assumed Hagar was a merman. It never occurred to me he was an actual human man.
I'm not sure. But there was that weird line, about the clubs allowing mermaids to be there, which is how like the clubs at some point allowed Jewish people to be in them.
Yeah,
So
you definitely get the sense that there's some racism going on here at this club, and
and
definitely
anti-mermism.
1,000% some sexism.
Yes.
So, let's describe the club.
It's a fun time.
There's a whole line of women in beach recliners wearing cute little 60s era swimsuits, bandeau swimsuits, and cat eye sunglasses, and bright colors, oranges and purples. And they're checking out a shirtless man who just struts by.
Yeah, it's a lot of ladies checking out hot. One hot dude.
Hot man.
Yeah, but he's the aquasizing instructor.
He's like a god here.
Yeah.
And I love that the first shot of him, he's got a dumbbell in one hand and a woman sitting on his shoulder. So he's
he's very strong.
Both.
Yeah.
He's very Kiwi.
He was on an episode of Hercules.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
He's fun.
And now he's this.
He's a memorable aspect of this episode.
Yes. It's always so weird, the angle that they use to, shoot him.
Very low angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, just odd.
He looks like a giant. You always see the bright blue sky behind him. There's something kind of idyllic, but also, terrifying about it.
Also, he had... Did he have, little red shorts on?
Yeah, little... He was
it's just
definitely
a Baywatch reference for, a Baywatch.
Hasselhoff, for sure, is
He's better than Hasselhoff.
You'll prefer him to Hasselhoff, but that's definitely who he looks like. So, to me, this was all very, aerobics. This
aquasize, water aerobics.
The women are all obsessed with it. They kind of do it as a thing separate from their husbands and lives. It's, their thing.
Right, because they get to do it with this instructor.
Yeah. Can we imitate him?
No.
No.
I don't have any lines of his to say, so I can't. But he's very Kiwi, and he keeps telling them, come together. Come together.
They're basically doing, synchronized swimming.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
This is the first of the synchronized swimming sequences you see in this episode. This is very self-consciously an homage to Esther Williams and her aqua musicals of the 1940s and 50s. She was a almost Olympic swimmer. The only reason she couldn't compete in the Olympics was because World War II was on.
Wow. Okay. But they didn't have synchronized swimming in the Olympics until 1984.
I think she was more of a...
Just swimming.
Racing.
Yeah.
Swim racing type deal. She was an athlete. She was really powerful swimmer. And then she became a sort of showgirl of the water. And she had an amazing body and amazing legs, and MGM kind of recruited her to be a pinup / star of movie musicals. And in this case, she made water-based musicals. She made 20 of these.
Okay.
Wow.
And they were really popular because girls in water-based musicals could wear bathing suits and it wasn't a big deal. This is during the codes, so we're supposed to cover up. But if you're in the water,
then
what can you do?
I remember some of his lines. My favorite ones were smoothly forming the orb. Ooh, beautiful orb.
Yes, right. Beautiful orb.
So yeah, this everything you see that's shot from the overhead angle, kind of showing the mermaids making a design in the water, like a geometric design, that is a reference to Esther Williams and to the musical numbers that were choreographed by Busby Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
Let the flower bloom. The girls use this time to kind of like chit chat and like, you know, how are things at home? That kind of business.
That to me was like so many red flags because they're like, is everything all right at home? And you're like, oh my God. Like, does that mean they're actually on her side? They're trying to like warn her that they're like helping her husband gaslight her? But no, that's not the plot of this. They have an agenda.
Right.
But yeah, they're asking these questions. And of course, she doesn't remember anything. So they fill her in on like how horrible her children are.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, well, if they're this horrible, I have to stay and help them.
Right. That's her, that was the opposite of what they wanted because they thought that by going like, Hagar wants a dozen more just like them, that would make her leave. Right. But no, Gabrielle is like, well, I need to stay and raise them right. Mm-hmm. Which...
That's so Gabrielle. Mm-hmm. If she is confronted with a problem, she's like, well, I got to fix this. I can't just run away.
Then you have Hagar performing for the council. He's doing a speech.
Oh my God! So the contrast between Hagar doing this and the women doing the aqua size is pretty profound.
This is all the men are on this council. It's like these dudes in Hawaiian shirts, and sunglasses, and they're all like sitting and or lounging. And he's like talking about how he wants to have schools for all the little fishes.
Get it?
Yup.
For the fishes.
Yeah, yes. And we meet this one guy who's like, I thought he was like the president of the council.
He definitely seemed powerful.
But like Hagar wants to be the president of the council.
Yeah, and then later you find out this guy's like an ordained minister.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But whatever. This guy, he's the one who's like lounging. So he's like the head honcho, like I guess, in charge. And he keeps being like, remember Hagar, family values are like super important here.
Gotta keep Crustacia in line.
Right, exactly.
Ugh.
Hagar's like, I don't think my wife can remember when she's been so happy.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Yikes. That's a coin in the jar.
Bad.
Then you cut from that to Crustacia or Gabrielle being murdered by the children.
Yeah, this is such a weird cut. Because you zoom out from her as if she's just waking up.
Yeah.
And she's waking up upside down in the trap again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, was she unconscious? Did the children knock her unconscious? Oh my God.
This is the worst thing that they've ever done. They like open up this trap door.
This is Ro. Ro opens the trap door.
Yeah.
Peer pressure.
Very.
Oh my God, you're such a Ro apologist. I think Ro was in it.
No.
Ro was a part of it.
Not all Rose.
Oh my God.
Listen, maybe this is some kind of like subconscious hope shit. Because of how evil Ro is at
I
times.
love it.
Yes.
I love it. I love that baby Ro is
determined.
this like ambiguous figure for this reason. Like, does she love Mama? Or does she say Mama in a sort of like, I'm going to kill you in a minute way?
She loves Mama.
No, Ro did this on her own.
No, she is being controlled by her brothers. They're like, open it up. And she's like, all right.
I mean, they might have, but I don't think that there was a lot of pressure going on.
Whatever, it happened. Anyway,
Baby Ro does pull her back from the shark.
Yes,
that's
there you
true.
go. See? Peer pressure.
Before Gabrielle even does her kung fu to get out of the situation, Baby Ro takes pity on her and pulls the lever.
Before we
get
just
a close
breeze
up.
over it, the shark cut is wonderful. Cut to commercial with Gabrielle underwater looking at this hilarious shark coming at her.
Right at her.
It's amazing. I love sharks. This is funny and it's good. I approve. A+.
Yeah, so this is Kaz. This is their pet?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. They like, they hold her head under there to be eaten by a shark, basically. It's like really hardcore. And then Gabs flips right out of there.
And all the kids are super impressed.
Yeah.
Because this is definitely something Crustacea has never done.
Yeah, but presumably they've done this to Crustacea before.
I guess
multiple
so.
times.
I think
Their
usually
mom.
they just, once they take pity on
Yeah.
her, she's saved.
What's up with Crustacea that she keeps like stepping in this spot to get?
I know, it's
I
a
mean,
little
apparently
odd, yeah.
Gabrielle steps in it too.
Yeah.
She does it twice, I guess. Yeah.
So she flips out of there and she's like, how did I do that? And then she grounds all the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, oh my God, discipline.
Yeah, like,
we
what?
respect this.
This is some of the problems with this episode over and above just maybe everyone's general objection to it existing based on look and plot and etc. It not being very in line with what we've seen on Xena before. That, again, we're trying to, stress that it's doing a bunch of really interesting things based on, all of these, issues. And I wish that in the episode itself that, like, there was more, character and plot development that wasn't just like, oh, okay, we're gonna, like, respect you now. We're gonna, like, clean now. We're good.
Well,
and the kids make no sense and nothing makes sense. I think you
fine.
could have this whole aesthetic and stuff with it making slightly more logical leaps. I don't
totally feel you. I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like this episode is winking at us. Like, the formula. Like, when you have the problem children and the mom who's like, I know their problems, but I'm going to stick with them and make them better. You know that the next beat in the story is they're better.
Okay.
Like, I feel like this episode is just like, we're skipping to that because you know how this story goes.
Right.
I feel like it's kind of rubbing its formulaic qualities in your face, which is like each child has one distinguishing feature and that's it. That's their entire character.
The entire character, it's stated.
Yeah.
The end.
The end. Because to me, this is like, again, let's imagine that this is Gabrielle's fantasy of what heteronormative married life would be like. She sketches it in. Like, here are the kids. They're awful. And then in a fantasy scenario, all she has to do is, like, one moment pushing back against that, and suddenly...
And push.
Oh, my God.
and suddenly the whole thing changes. They're like, oh, my God, like, she's a badass.
Okay.
We'll be good children now.
In the fantasy logic, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
She solves the children and Hagar in 2 scenes back to back.
Yeah, I feel like you don't want realism here. You don't want 4 scenes of Gabrielle slowly drilling discipline into the children.
No,
You
okay.
want
And
magic!
then having emotional, like, negotiation conversations with Hagar. Like, no thank you. Like, this is, like, being told in, like, broad strokes. Just because we know where it's going. We've seen a rom-com before. We've seen a sitcom before. Like, it's, like, getting you to the end as quickly as it can.
Okay.
Right. So our second scene where she sells things, Hagar comes home and he starts complaining about his day. And then he goes, sometimes I wish I could just do what you do. Hang around, play with my hair, try and look pretty. Do nothing.
The worst! Throwing a coin in for Hagar again!
Okay, but this was hilarious because she's, like, standing in the kitchen. She's, like, chopping, the dinner.
The kids are drying the dishes.
Yeah,
already.
they're like,
they're under
cleaning
her
the dish.
spell
Yes.
now.
And so when he says do nothing, she turns around and, like, throws this knife right at his face.
Buries in the wall.
Yes. And he's like, what?
He's just gone for the rest of the scene. I love how he, like, slowly removes his sunglasses. He's just like, did I see that? And I love her. Hagar, am I mistaken? Or are you under the impression that this house cleans itself? That the dinner that you're about to eat somehow jumped up on the stove and hopped in the pot? That our children taught themselves manners? Burn.
She then goes on to give like a big old speech about how, you should, like, respect homemakers.
Yeah, this is a lot of 1960s feminism.
Well, true to the period that they're portraying.
Up that they're raising the children together, that as hard as he works, she works just as hard.
Yeah.
And that they have to raise these children together because Gabrielle will not have them treating their spouses the way he treats her.
Right. Yes.
That's the big line.
That's a good line and well delivered.
Yeah.
My favorite line is, look what you did to my wall.
Yes,
That was
good.
amazing.
But yeah, I mean, we do get a moment of Gabrielle really pushing back. With,
Yeah.
We've been in this like weird 1960s verse where women are expected to be perfect homemakers, but also sort of like subhuman. And Gabrielle is saying, no, like we're equals. My job is as hard as yours. I'm fine with this being my job, but I just want credit for it. You have to help me raise these children so that the next generation will be better. It's not exactly like, stand up and applaud level of girl power, but it's at least her saying like, hey, the way you treat me is not okay, which we appreciate. The whole thing is still, very trapped in this retrograde idea of gender dynamics, which, again, I think the episode is conscious of. I don't think Xena Warrior Princess is trying to put this forward as, like, the way married people talk to each other. No. It's all meant to be a joke.
Yeah.
So then, that night, Gabrielle is in a transparent pink negligee.
Mm-hmm. That was straight up, like, something pulled from Aphrodite's wardrobe.
Yeah, for 100%.
What do you think this means, then? I don't know.
Aphrodite something. Write a fake. I don't know.
She definitely does not want Hagar to see her in this negligee and keeps trying to turn off the lights, and he won't have it.
Well, he doesn't get it.
He doesn't get that that's the issue.
And at first when she was doing that, I was like, oh my God, she's like trying to seduce him.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of uses that visual language. You see like her like flirty hand coming around the side of the door and flicking the lights.
Yeah, and it's like some kind of like seashell light thing, which,
goes
cool
with
detail.
The aesthetic. But yeah, I feel like it does kind of play with your expectations. It says like, oh, look, this is, foreplay. And then it says, oh, wait, no, this is Gabrielle who like doesn't want any of this and is trying to just
she's like
survive the night.
She wants to go into the bed without him having to look at her like that.
I love her running jump under the covers. She's just like, how
flies
fast
right
can I disappear?
And she's like, you don't actually expect me to believe that I sleep in this. And he's like, no, you usually sleep in the nude with this like evil face.
This sucks.
Hagar is still the worst. This is, remember, after the, like, come to Jesus, like, you need to be, like, more respectful of me scene. Right. He's still the worst.
She's, like, in your dreams, and then she, like, turns over, and they go to bed. But he, like, makes all these... He makes, like, faces like, oh, I'm bad. Like, I did a bad thing. Like, I should apologize or should tell her something.
He, like, lets her take all the blankies. He's like, all right, you can hog the blankies.
No, but he's mad about it.
He's mad, but he lets it happen.
Okay.
He's sort of like, all right. I deserve this.
So she turns around and she's like, Hagar, how exactly did we meet?
Yeah.
This is my favorite sequence.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
It is.
I feel like there's
incredible.
a lot to talk about in the many choices in this sequence.
So many
This
choices.
is one of the most genius
We
things.
get a Hagar flashback / description of how they met, presumably from his point of view.
It was a beautiful sunny day.
But if it's all a Gab's fantasy, then in some capacity she is Crustacea. So...
Yes.
Anyway, just saying. Because earlier we were like, no, that's Crustacea. But if it's all Gab... Anyway.
Yeah. Crustacea is a part of Gab's psyche. The part that wanted to marry Perdiccas.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
This is a flashback to Perdiccas, how she wanted to see him as a painter.
This is them back in...
in Portidia?
Podidea?
He was a painter?
What? No. You mean like when she wanted to marry him?
This is
like,
how
at
they
that
met.
one point?
But
she never wanted to marry him.
That's really
bullshit.
true.
Everything you just said is not true.
And we're not in Illusia. So the immediate cut to a Saturday Night Fever sequence.
I think the immediate cut is actually to Crustacea with the lollipop and the heart-shaped sunglasses.
Okay, so immediate cut to Lolita by Stanley Kubrick.
Yes.
There's two giant film references in this
combined.
What a smush.
Fantasy sequence.
What a smush.
One is Saturday Night Fever, and the other is the Stanley Kubrick version of Lolita. I don't know why either things are happening. I have no fucking clue. Honestly, enlighten me if you'd like. You get Gabrielle in this cheerleadery outfit. She's meant to be
a child.
A child, because that's the plot of Lolita, I suppose. And so she has the glasses. She's the suggestive lollipop.
Right.
And braces.
Right. Revealed at a
yes.
comic moment. So that's meant to be an extra, like, LOL. She's a child when they're revealed.
I mean, well, she's a child if she's Lolita. Like,
Right.
You
Right.
get that. It's just more like she's an unattractive child. Because she has the braces.
By the way, it's taking the piss out of the Lolita symbol. It's saying, like, no, these aren't, like, sexual goddesses. These are children.
Mm-hmm. So, like, the reveal of the braces is taking the piss out of that concept in general. Like, it's not sexy. She has braces.
I don't think it's meant to be
sexy either.
And, you know, the way she plays it later is definitely goofy when she's like, hey.
That was my favorite part, okay? Twofold. One, it reminded me of her, like, the best moment from that horrible episode that I keep talking about, If the Shoe Fits, when she was like the dopey Cinderella.
It definitely reminded me of
that
dopey
was like
Cinderella.
One thing. Two, that was a very like I want to say it's a reference to the Brady Bunch movie. That was a very Jan Brady moment.
I fucking wrote the same thing
because it's legit.
Yeah.
That was like, you know, a thing that was a huge thing in 1985. So I thought that was a very Jan Brady moment with the braces there. But yeah, so he's like supposed to be super sexy John Travolta, right? But he's Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi with like an Igor wig. It's not sexy. He's dressed like a painter.
Yeah, he's a painter.
He like flips one of the straps of his overalls off as if that makes it better.
Yes.
And then like throws a paint can in the air, which eventually clocks him on the head.
But before that, there was a lot of gags with the paint can where he hit a lot of women at the club with it in the head, which including Crustacea and Sturgina, who I guess that's when they fell in love with him.
And they look no different.
They don't have the braces or anything. They're just the same. But I laughed at every single one of these paint can gags.
The whole thing, it's really blissful comedy to just like watch the timing of it. Yeah, the reveal of the braces. You know that paint can is gonna hit Joxer in the head eventually. Just the entire gag of seeing him being like John Travolta sexy in a way that is not sexy at all. And this is after multiple episodes of Xena where they've tried to do kind of disco Joxer. Right. Like we've seen that in Liar Liar. Mm-hmm. We saw that in If the Shoe Fits. Like this is the third time we've seen it. So at this point we are just like, no, we know this is nonsense.
Also, just to point out, season 5 really, really going to town with the music budget.
Oh man,
Liar
they
Liar
paid for this.
Yep, Liar Liar had a bunch. This is a song that you have to pay for. It's a very famous song. I can't imagine that it was.
How much did they shell out?
Not expensive in some capacity.
Yeah.
They do that, and then there's going to be another one in a couple weeks. So
I won't.
But like season 5 seems to have a lot of pop music, way more than ever before. I think probably of all time, the most.
So
But yeah, I mean, I do like that. There's a lot of imagery that undercuts the source material.
So Joxer's paint can knocks him on the head. He's unconscious, and we get some TV CPR.
Right. This is like how showrunners want TV CPR to be if they aren't comfortable with having kisses happen, right? Where they're like, it's a kiss.
Yeah. Well, this reminded me of The Sandlot because then it goes back into their out of the flashback fantasy sequence, and Hagar admits that he was not really unconscious when they did the CPR thing, which reminds me of the scene in The Sandlot, which is a very famous children's baseball film from the 90s in which one of the kids pretended to drown in order to have CPR performed on him by the sexy lifeguard.
Nice.
Thank God for TV CPR.
Mm-hmm. Well, that prompts Gabs to say something like, that's almost sweet.
That's weird. I hate that line, and it's not sweet. Everything about it sucks.
Sweet?
Like, she's like coming around like, oh, you're a good guy.
I mean, it's clear if you look at the way the actors are playing it in this little flashy that they're both into it. Like, she wants to give him the CPR. It's not like there's anything, like, non-consensual here. This is a flirtation. But at the same time, it is weird for Gabs to be like, I like this.
We just don't want to do that thing. This is what's happening here is exactly what always happens with Joxer. He goes over the fucking line and then he does something sweet and you're like, oh, Joxer. Not this time,
but at
Chris
the same
Manheim.
time, I do think this episode was aware of that. They've taken him so far into actual should be in jail land, and now they're slowly trying to rehabilitate his image. Yeah. And you're like, what? This is beyond rehabilitation.
I don't know.
I feel it. I mean, maybe it's just me putting it in there, but no. I do not think this episode, by the end, has made you be like, oh, sweet Hagar, he deserved her.
Well, if anything, it makes him better for actual Crustacea. You're like, good luck, girl.
Again, that's the logic of this episode. I'm like, Crustacea, you stay away. Stay far away. But, we'll talk about that. How sincere is Hagar's rehabilitation? Has he actually learned something? Or is it just such a low bar for men in rom-coms that literally if you're like, hey, maybe gaslighting is bad. It's like, oh my God, give that man a medal. He's such a prize. That, I think, in the end, is the criticism of this genre.
Listen, we don't actually really know actual Crustacea's life.
No, we have no idea.
What kind of woman she is.
All we know is this flashback, and we don't know if we can trust it.
But, but if she's, really, BFFs with crabs and sturge, maybe she's not that great as a human. I mean, as a mermaid.
Are you saying she deserves this life?
No, but I'm saying that, Gabs is making, when she comes back, it's going to be better. Because, she's fixing Hagar for her. I don't know, dude. Maybe she let her kids be, this crazy, specifically. I don't know.
This lady is just an absence. We don't know who she is.
I feel
she's a plot device.
I think she's Crabella and Sturgina. I think she's they go to the same high school.
But she had more sense than them because she knew that Hagar was not a prize. She ran away.
Well, she learned that, but at first she had him.
I have sympathy for Crustacea, and I hope she stays away.
I don't think so, but I think she's going to come back. Okay, anyway, so back at the club, right? Crabella and Sturgina are they're getting massages. They have this algae drink. And they are plotting.
Who does that cheap piece of tail think she is?
Oh my God.
Hello? She thinks she's Crustacea. Good little piece of dialogue. I also enjoyed there's more than one way to skin a catfish.
Yes.
So many puns and stuff.
Yep.
Aqua puns.
Yeah,
so now since they couldn't get her to leave her husband, they have to murder her.
That's right. So Sturgina's the one who comes up with all these plots.
Yeah, Sturgina has quite the mind for murders.
Yeah, and this is the scene where I was like, oh my god, Megan Desmond is killing it because she's so good in this scene. It's incredible.
Hope Crustacea likes calamari.
Right, because they cut a hole in this net that will allow a big old octopus to come in. I don't know. I don't really get the rules of the sea because it's not all
this
fish
reminds
creatures.
Me of Jaws 2, where Jaws can get into
the club.
Yeah, basically
he's a member.
He gets into the club. He gets into the SeaWorld area.
I would like to just point out that it's Jaws 3.
Oh.
Jaws 3D.
Good point.
You're welcome.
But yeah, the point is they set a trap for who they think is Crustacea.
Yes. Well, they know it's not Crustacea.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Crustacea is this weird non-part of Gabrielle, though.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like the
metaphors.
It's the part who wanted to marry Perdiccas. I go with this. She's gone now.
She's gone now.
So I love this bit where she's feeding Baby Ro chunks of apple.
Oh my God. All right. Important details.
Is this Eve? Is this meant to remind us of Eve?
Baby Ro is supposed to be Eve.
Even the apple,
No, that's... No.
I'm just saying.
I mean, you're right, but no. What? It's not at all like that. No. It's instead
we're losing it.
The first episode of season 1 of The Sinner. USA's The Sinner, where Jessica Biel does cutting a little pear with a. Yeah, there's a whole thing. Never mind. But everyone should watch that. It was just so good, so good. No, this is like Baby Ro is actually Eve. Like
Yes.
like her
Baby Ro
learning
is
to
Eve.
bond with Baby Ro
Is her learning to bond with Eve.
And
But also hope.
oh sure, whatever.
An echo of
An
hope.
echo of hope, right? An echo of hope sounds
See,
like
the
a
more-
YA novel.
Yeah, it does.
The more we
Copyrighted
say
me.
this stuff, the more I want to just be like devil's advocate and be like, I really wish this wasn't happening this way in any capacity.
But it's all we have, so we have to go with it.
Okay.
I love the bonding sessions that they have because I fucking love Baby Ro. So the more I have of her, the better. Baby Ro is sitting on a little red wagon and she's being fed these little apple pieces. And it's really cute. Mm-hmm. And then Corbella and Sergina come and they're like, oh, you guys are so precious. Let's get a painting of you.
Salvatore.
Yeah, Salvatore the painter, comes rushing over, right? And they keep being like, Crustacea, go back further. And so she keeps going like towards the water. And I love the part where she like drags the little wagon. You see the little wagon being dragged
This
closer,
part was
closer.
interesting
Ro
because Ro
knows
is
what's up.
Yeah.
Is
She's
it
like,
because Ro is an octopus?
I think
she
so.
can tell.
She can tell that her actual mother, this giant fucked up octopus, is like there. And she's like, oh my god, my real
Her
mom.
actual mother?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Why is Ro an octopus and why is this an octopus?
Well, maybe Rose is squid and this is like an octopus.
Maybe.
There's a difference.
I don't know.
I don't really know. But the point being
The point is,
that
Ro knows this octopus is
she
here.
can tell there's danger. Danger Will Robinson.
Yeah.
Like she knows.
So, some big ass tentacles come out of the water. They take.
They swipe Crustacea
They
into
swipe
the water.
her into the water, and everyone is immediately like gathering around. Everyone in the club is like, "Oh no!" And then you have Flipper and Urchin who come out and are like, "Yeah, go mom!"
I loved it.
They're like rooting for her before there's anything to root for.
Right. So then it's like
She has the paring knife from the apple.
Yes, that's
still in her
important
hand.
detail. Yes. And so she's like underwater. You see all this wrestling. Oh my god! You see her do like stab the tentacle.
You see it. I mean, it's hard to tell what it is you're looking
you
at.
see that she stabs the tentacle, and then you see like all this blood. But like everybody in the club reacts like, "Oh my god, she's dead."
dead.
What would you think? It's like a
But we
geyser.
saw that she stabbed it, so we know she's fine.
Yeah, but if you were on...
Yes, you would think that she's dead. Okay, but then here comes Gabrielle, and it is pretty epic and important as far as images go on the show Xena Warrior Princess, right? She comes out of that water. She has the knife in her teeth. Where have we seen this before?
It is 1,000% altered state. Xena surfacing out of the water. We called it the monstrous feminine.
Right, but it's also Xena coming to kill Ming Tian from Apocalypse Now reference.
Where she actually does have something.
She has
in her teeth.
the knife.
Knife
yeah.
in the teeth.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's like
you're
all
right.
those things all at once.
All those things combined.
Yes.
This, that's always used to show like female power as a killing device.
Yeah.
So now we should recognize this Gabrielle. This is Gabrielle from Xena Warrior Princess,
Right.
not Gabrielle from Married with Fishsticks.
But again, in this season 5 way, where all of a sudden now she's a crazy, like, violent person that hasn't really been developed in the sense that all of a sudden she went from season 4 to just being a killing machine. In her head, what does that mean then?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
that's
I
cool.
just always want to just bring things back to the fact that season 5 is not great for Gabrielle's character development.
No, it definitely
And
jumps.
this episode is also not great for it either.
I can definitely see her like wrestling through these issues of violence and like getting more deeper and deeper into it.
Sure.
But like, yeah, I will not defend season 5 like because it is bad with characters and like we have to do all the work.
Yeah, you're doing so much work
to try
right now,
to
you guys.
find an arc in all this.
Okay, so she comes out and Krabs and Sturge is like, imagine that, an escaped octopus. And then the other one goes, we're so glad you're all right. Yeah, we had no idea you knew how to defend yourself.
I love how Gabs puts on this like orange cover up over her outfit. Right. And then it's like, no swimmery for today. And like just like kind of preserves her dignity and drags Baby Row away.
Is swimmery different than aquasizing?
Yeah, I think swimmery is for babies.
Yeah, like it's like
Baby
Gymboree. Yeah.
Oh my god. We didn't mention how like when she was gonna do the portrait, she like gave little Baby Row a kiss.
Yeah.
Really cute.
I just
Baby Row.
A lot of cute stuff with this weird creature. So many props to actual actress Renee O'Connor who had to do all this stuff.
I would act like an Oscar with Baby Rose.
Honestly, I mean, it's not like the Baby Row puppet doesn't have a lot of
so much expression.
And
so much expression on a little face.
I think, they've done a really great job. They spent a lot of money on this.
Yeah,
process.
so much money.
Jeez. Oh, help me.
All right. So they go back to their house, right? And when they arrive, oh my goodness, Hagar has prepared dinner for them.
Table for four.
It's a weird French accent.
Sorry. And it's weird because there are 5 of them.
Well, no, he gave the table for the kids.
Oh, I see.
He's like serving them.
I see.
Yeah, because remember he learned his lesson.
He immediately sits at the table, though.
Yeah, so it sounds like he ordered in, right? And he got them all clam burgers. Oh my god.
Kids love clam burgers.
Yeah, and if you look at Flipper, he like can't hold it, so he just kind of like flaps it around on his plate.
Baby Row can eat a clam burger.
But like he literally has no hands, so he can't pick it up.
My favorite though is when Hagar's like, kids love clam burgers, and you see like Baby Row, like, I don't know, just kind of like hitting the table with her tentacles, and you're like, does she love clam burgers? I'm really not sure.
So then the kids go off to bed, and then Hagar's like, oh, I've been thinking about what you said. And he promises that things will be different from now on. He's learned his lesson, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, you promise? And then he does this really creepy, like, Boy Scout salute. And he's like, oh, yes. And it sounds so threatening. And this, again, is to me, like, kind of challenging the idea that, this is just the traditional rom-com idea where she, like, taught him how to be a better man, and now he's learned his lesson. Like, he's still fucking creepy here.
Right.
So, like, whatever. Like, if you want to go along with the rom-com script, you can. But there's a lot of, like, cues to say, like, no, this guy still sucks.
Oh, my God.
Also, you can see the floor tile in this kitchen, which is black and white, just like Illusion.
Whoa, they just borrowed it from that set.
That's probably true, but if you want to get into it, this is Illusion. Black and white, good and evil.
All right, so we're back at the club.
I love all the bubble scene transitions they've been doing.
No, it's really good.
I don't have any more painkiller left to blow bubbles, but imagine. Oh. Okay. That's a cute touch.
Yeah, it's really good. Mm-hmm. All right, so Gabrielle and Sergina are plotting again. We have like another really great like verbal sparring sesh between them here.
This is very reminiscent of that opening scene.
Yes,
of
because they're like insulting each other. In a funny,
and again,
funny
kind
way.
of slut shaming for reasons we're just like, why must you do this, ladies?
How do you deal with your excessive skankitude?
I'm not the one with open all night monogrammed on my underwear.
You've been looking through my closets?
Oh my God.
I loved it all.
I mean, I love them talking to each other.
They're very funny.
Yeah, they're so great together.
It's almost like I'll give them a pass.
I mean, I do because they're so great.
They're funny.
All of this, man. There's an upcoming line that I was like, I can't believe they got passed. Like this is like. I'm so glad this is not a show for kids.
I just love the like mise en scène of them just like in these floaties in the pool.
they're not really like participating in the swimsuit size. Aqua size class. They're like You know, kind of like just hanging out in the back.
Yeah.
Plotting.
So like they're kind of half-hearted. We're participating in the aqua size. It's all very funny.
Yeah. So they decide that they need to do a new plan, and oh, you know what? Like, let's just like have her get her memory back. That's the plan.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, it's
they
pretty
should
good.
have thought of this to begin with.
Yes, I know. All right. So then Hagar takes Crustacea back to the coral gardens where he proposed to her.
This is where the rom-com is strong with this one.
Yes. Oh, man.
They're really laying it on thick. So,
Yeah.
he's trying to, like, you know, do it all over again. And he proposes to her, and she's like, but we're already married. And he's like, well, I want to do it again and apologize for maybe we're not married. I don't know.
He gives her this ring that has like little pearls on them. But like I didn't like when she was like, thanks for having a learning curve.
This is just like such a low bar because what he's being like, I'm a better man when I'm around you, and she's like, you learned something. Like, that's the best she can say for him. And you took me seriously.
Yeah.
Those are the two things she can say to him. And they're just like such faint praise.
Yeah.
Like, it's just nothing. Like, he has literally done nothing but, like, be ever so slightly nicer. And she's like, okay, I'll marry you. And you're like, the fuck. But this is a really nice set. I do love the coral gardens. They're very pretty.
Right. It's supposed to, like, is it supposed to be like the kiss the girl moment?
It definitely has that
like-
vibe.
I wrote Little Mermaid Ride again here, so sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so he proposed to her and they kiss. And then we cut to Rob and Lucy's wedding footage.
Did you like the synchronized swimmers around the heart? What do you think of that cut?
Sure.
I thought that was
it's fitting to
interesting.
the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
No.
I
They
noticed
just
that they
hired a bunch
weren't-
of synchronized swimmers
They
for this
weren't
episode.
in Mermaid Tales.
No, they were like, there's like
Yeah.
synchronized swimmers
They're
in
just
this
here.
episode.
So
They're just using them.
Some more
Yeah.
Esther Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're doing like a wedding / renewing your vows ceremony in front of the council.
And head councilman guy in the hat who we talked about before congratulates Hagar because this is like such a great idea to renew your vows right before the election. So this guy is kind of contextualizing it as like this is just a tactic for votes. And
Yes.
honestly, I kind of believe it.
Right. But
Like-
I don't know, because Hagar's like, but I love her.
But men can have it both ways. They can be like, oh yeah, it's totally like sincere emotion, but yeah, it looks really good for me now, you know?
Yeah.
And they're not accused of being, you know, sluts the way like women are when they are ambitious and using their like sex and romance to like get ahead in the world.
So this is a beach wedding. We have steel drums playing the music. Let's discuss these outfits.
Are we gonna rate them like for weddings
Oh my god.
Yeah.
style on TLC? Like
Is the chicken of the sea dry?
probably. I would give
sure.
her dress like a 5.
Whoa, that's high.
4.
Yeah.
This is out of 10, by the way.
What about him?
Hagar is wearing shorts. That's an automatic 0.
It's like Bermuda shorts.
Yeah, it's automatic 0.
But what about his tie? It's an automatic 10.
Yeah,
Says
that's-
Rob Tapper.
It's shaped like a fish.
Yep.
It's great.
What if it's like
I
straight
think
up out of Rob's closet?
I would not be surprised. All right, that gets a 6.
And I love how like his hair is all like puffed
up,
out.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both look absolutely horrifying, to be honest. And I've liked Crustacea's outfit, like, so far. But this wedding dress is heinous.
Corbella and Strigina are in the audience. They make sure that us, the audience, know that they switched out her memory loss potion for, like, whatever, a juice. So she's definitely going to get her memory back.
The orchestration of the wedding march is funny. Good job, Joe Lowe, on this one. It's like played on the bongos or something.
There's the steel drums.
Yeah, steel drums.
Oh my gosh.
It's a good time.
So the ceremony begins, and as the minister is like saying his thing, Hagar wants to kind of fess up to her, you know?
This is a very significant moment in the episode, the fact that they try to have Hagar feeling bad and apologizing. Yeah. It's right in the nick of time. It's right when she's getting her memory back. And of course, he doesn't do it. He doesn't, like, get the guts to actually do it. Or the
you don't know. He could
have to do it.
He could have if she just didn't look over there and seen this chakram sign in the decorations.
Like, for me, he doesn't get the credit for this. Mm-mm. It's too little too late. I think this, again, is the episode following the rom-com script in which the man, you know, she's all that style, finally realizes, oh, I gotta, like, expose this. And, of course, it's never in time. It's, like... It's never enough. And, like, I don't give him anything for this. I feel like we're not supposed to take this seriously.
I think he was gonna say it. And this is where I'm like, I hate the fact that, like, am I supposed to feel, you know, better about you? Like, am I supposed to like you because you want to say this?
I feel like it was...
Are you a good guy now?
It was so strategic. It was clearly done by the scriptwriter to kind of, like, give us that. You're like, no. Like, we judge people through their actions. It took him this long to come clean, and he doesn't even do it now. And, like, as the councilman pointed out, this is actually very politically beneficial to him, this marriage at this moment.
Right.
So there's enough evidence to show that this guy...
fully believed that he, like, loves this new
That's what
lookalike.
he says, but is that what he means?
I don't know.
We don't know. I think... he remains a threatening and ambiguous figure even here. There's just enough evidence to support this. It's not like Overboard where she's like, yes, I love you, you're the greatest. She's going to get her memory back and be like, bye. You're all right, but bye.
No, but she's like, go, you know, get back with Crustacia. She does not throw him in the cake. If she threw him in the cake, then we would know definitively that he's a bad man.
Oh, God, I wish she'd thrown him in the cake.
I mean,
that would make this episode so much clearer. Yeah. I hate that it's still kind of...
Yeah, only the bad guys got thrown in the cake.
It has the skeleton of the rom-com where it's just, you know, trying to shove heteronormativity down your throat, being like, this is what you should be loving.
You know what's not, though, is the best part of the episode, which is what we're on and which we should talk about right this very instant, which is that, like, all this stuff is happening right when the priest guy is like, oh, trust is the cornerstone for any relationship, and it's the cornerstone on which love is built, la, 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 all this stuff. Hagar's a big liar, everybody sucks. Vera, you already mentioned.
The chakram?
She looks over and sees this, I don't know, undersea encrusted
weird decoration
shape, and has a flash of Xena catching the chakram.
The next one's my favorite because it's so insane.
There are several flashbacks. There are 3, I think.
Yeah.
The next one is that Crustacia Gabs looks over and sees these women in the swim class, and they're, like, floating very strangely with their hands in the air, which then reminds her of Fins, Femmes, and Gems, right? Where Xena has the 2 fish on her arms from fishing.
From fisting a fish.
Fisting a fish, waving them around in the air.
It's so ridiculous. It's kind of like the moment where she remembers Gabrielle in Syntrade, where it's like silly Gabs in her outfit and the like little breastplate falls off. So this is like the equivalent, like ridiculous Xena with the fish on her hands.
And yet that's essence of Xena. That's her.
Again, underneath all this is the like officiant person going like doing the part of the vows situation or whatever in the ceremony where you're like, speak now if you have any objections.
Yeah.
And like then right at that moment is a fucking clip from A Family Affair. It's the best episode of all time. Which is just amazing Xena face going, Gabrielle. Which is so great. Clearly it's this like Xena-based objection to this wedding. I just thought that they used this clip because it's like one of the best moments in the whole show in one of this ridiculous episode. That's all.
It really is just like, for me, it's like we've been stuck in this like horrible sitcom dream. And then like we're so grateful. We're so grateful to see like Xena again and to have this life that Gabrielle has with Xena kind of bust through this horrible marriage based on like lies and gaslighting.
Nasty. It's so great. It's like this whole episode has been a crazy nightmare on purpose. And then the climax of the episode is like the situation where her getting married is interrupted by her real feelings for Xena just busting forth. Awesome.
And you feel like this is an awakening narrative. This is someone who feels like, well, like getting married and like living this kind of life is the life I'm supposed to be living. Oh, wait, there are alternatives. This is not what I have to do. So it definitely feels like an amazing liberation moment.
Absolutely.
Right. So after that, it's all coming back to me now.
Oh.
She remembers that she's Gab.
I'm not Crustacea. I'm Gabrielle.
Gabrielle.
And I love that, like, her very next thought is to call Hagar a pig.
Yeah.
Because he is one.
Yeah.
And I mean, it must be said he's just standing there kind of going, duh, duh, duh. Like, he never said it.
Yeah.
He gets no credit. No credit. He didn't do it. He was going to marry her without ever telling her the truth.
Right. But
Like,
it was for real now.
Trying to tell her the truth in the middle of the ceremony is not the right time.
No,
he
it's
gets
not.
no credit.
Yeah. So then Crawfia and Sergina stand up and they're like, hey, Gar, it's time for you to choose your new wife.
And they start insulting each other again. Sergina snores like an asthmatic walrus.
And then here's a line, Vera. This
is my favorite
This
line.
is the one you
This is
couldn't
my
believe
favorite.
got into the episode past
It's
the
incredible.
censors. You should also know that every member of the council knows exactly what the top of Crabella's head looks like.
Wow.
That's amazing.
But
Is it?
double
It is.
wow, cut to Hagar looking shifty.
Because he knows. He's banged both of them, dude. Like, hello.
Again, more reason why this guy is not a romantic hero,
No,
but
he's
gross.
bad.
a disgusting man
Yeah.
who we're happy Gabrielle is free of.
Yeah. So they start
fight.
fighting. They fight. It's all
This
like
is
Jerry
when the
Springer.
whole thing goes downhill for me. Honestly, I was on board up till now.
The very end.
The very
You're
end.
in it.
Yeah.
You win it.
You know when it goes downhill for me? When Gabrielle comes back to reality.
I think you could see this episode,
Oh,
like
dear.
I say, as a nightmare of heteronormativity that Gabrielle is dreaming for herself, and you're like, cool, cool, cool. I see how this fits. I'm fine with it. This bit where Sergina and Carabella just have a giant cat fight
Yeah.
is like misogynistic, like without any critical distance.
But it's
then
the
it
same.
has
It's the
that,
same
like-
as the beginning.
Yeah,
She just
but
was
I didn't like the beginning
affected
either.
by that.
Like, why are they fighting over a man, over Hagar, who is not worth it?
They were, in the beginning, they were fighting over that pirate.
That's true. He's
man.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was
Yeah.
probably not worth it.
When really they should maybe be focusing on, or at least Discord would probably be like more interested in the fact that Xena's nearby and she should probably kill Eve.
Yeah,
Right?
that is a huge continuity error
Yeah.
that neither of these goddesses
They
cares
don't
about
care.
the Twilight.
Yeah.
I mean, Aphrodite would never do such a thing, but Discord would.
Discord
Yeah.
would, for sure, and she will later. Yeah. Okay, so this fight.
Jerry
What-
Springer references with the like whooping,
Yep.
people watching, ladies throwing each other into cake, etc. It's happening.
Baby Roe gets involved.
Yeah.
I also really love Flipper and the other one coming in as soon as, because Gabs gets in on the action, right? So she starts fighting too. And Flipper is like, come on, nail her, whoever you are. Because he can no longer be like, Mom,
Yeah.
go Mom.
That's another weird part of this episode, and also Overboard, that the children are part of the gaslighting plan, which is abuse, that they have been forced to do this, and yeah, not addressed. So yeah, like, I mean, my favorite part of this whole fight is how Sergina's like, I'm gonna pull that ring off your 7th finger,
And then Gabrielle's like, if you wanted my finger, all you had to do is ask, and throws her the bird, which is censored with a big, like, censored sign slapped on it.
That's amazing that you like that part.
I love it. It's a little bit Starship Troopers. It's good times.
It is. Oh, man. I wish that there was, like, a Starship Troopers episode of Xena.
Yeah, season 7.
Oh.
I thought that was funny. And, you know, again, something that you can only do in a fantasy episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, like, I feel like Renee plays it to a T. It's a lot of fun.
She also, like, takes out, like, the sigh from these ladies' like hair. It was like their hair, part of their hair decoration. Anyway, she just throws both Crabella and Sergina into the cake. Then they start fighting each other. These beefy, like, security guards come and take them out. And I was like, are they part of the, you know, New Zealand rugby team, All Blacks? Because they were wearing All Blacks. And, like, they just seemed super, super duper, like, beefy. And, like, they had their own reaction shots.
Vera, you were very thrown.
I was like, is this,
these guys?
Is this some kind of, like, cameo
I
situation?
barely noticed that.
Oh my, it just seemed like too much. Like, there was, like, some sort of cameo happening. Then Gab says goodbye to her gross non-children.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
They are gross.
They are gross, and yet it's still trying to conform to this kind of rom-com script where everybody learns a lesson. So Gab says
did they?
No,
Yes, they did. They all learned it.
They really didn't.
They did.
She goes down the line being like, Flipper, you're like...
Stop being awful and urchin. Like, you're very curious.
Your curiosity will take you far.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, okay.
Is it supposed to be about her? Like, I don't get it.
I think it's just supposed to demonstrate, like, you know, how she has such a close relationship with each of these people, but you're like, oh.
Listen, the main one.
Obviously.
Baby Ro
Ro.
taught her patience.
And that, of course, echoing
Yes.
patience from her complaint at the beginning of the episode.
Right.
We understand that Baby Ro is Eve in this fantasy.
Yes.
This is when you realize that Baby Ro is a girl, right? She says,
little lady.
Little lady.
Yeah. Okay, then she says goodbye to Hagar, and yeah, she tells him to find, like, actual Crustacea and show her the new man he's capable of being.
It's so half-hearted, because, like, what new man? Like, what lesson has this man learned? Nothing. Like, he has honestly not learned anything.
He has. He's supposed to be nice to his homemaker wife and help clean and get takeout once in a while.
It's so half-hearted. Like, the rules are so, like, look how much she had to do to like fit into this society versus like what he gets applauded for doing. Like, it's really absurd. And yeah, I tend to think that even though you recognize this as like the way that these sorts of stories end, you shouldn't be satisfied with it. In part because we literally have an alternative presented to us, which is Xena Warrior Princess. Like, who's here? Like, to like take Gabrielle out of this story. So, I mean, unlike Overboard or any other rom-com you've seen, she doesn't settle for this. She's like, oh, you're nice, sure, shrug. I'm going back to Xena.
Yay.
Like, it's you know, she rejects this kind of story. And I think that's really important to remember when watching Married with Fishsticks. She rejects it. Like, this is in her rear view mirror already. She gives this kind of half-hearted, like, go to Crustacea and show her what you showed me. And you're like, go back to Xena. Who cares about Hagar? Like,
it's weird because she, like, you know, she does all that, but then she kisses him, you know?
she does kiss him.
And that's weird.
That was for Chris Mannheim.
I know. This is like
the transition.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
it's all...
You're supposed to feel, that this is the magic of TV CPR. Jaxer's giving her mouth to mouth, so in the fantasy, there's a kiss.
It's like that thing where, like, something that's happening becomes part of your dream.
Yeah.
So it's like that's happening, so it becomes what she's thinking about.
Right. And then she kisses Jaxer, like, for real.
Right. She realizes that Jaxer's there, or someone who looks like Hagar, and kisses him.
It was so weird. It took me, like,
there yet. Like, it's like she's not 100% Gabrielle.
No, but it was, like, it was weird, because it wasn't just, like, him there doing CPR and that's it. It's like then she grabs his head and kisses him as actual Gabrielle.
Seeing, like, it went back Jaxer. Like 15 seconds so that you could see.
Yes.
Like,
she's wearing the ring.
Okay, so she tries to give the ring back in Bikini Bikini Bottom. He's like, no, you keep it. And then when we go back to like reality in Greece, she's laying there on the dock and she's wearing that ring.
So it happened.
So Illusia is real.
It's all illusion, you guys.
I hate everything.
This is evidence, finally.
I think
finally.
I don't want this episode to exist, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, I definitely don't want it to be real. Yeah.
No, yeah.
I mean, I think it only makes sense if it's something that's going on inside her mind. And maybe inside her mind, this is like the lesson she's learned. You know, there's physical evidence.
Yikes. All right. So he's like giving her, they do the kiss, and then she comes to her senses, and she's like, what are you doing? And he says, well, apparently just what you've always wanted.
I'm out of coins, otherwise I'd throw one in.
They're gone.
There's so many had to go in this episode.
They're all gone. So just imagine me throwing in a coin for that. And she rightly slugs him in the face.
I mean, yeah, it was a good punch.
Rightly.
Yeah. So then
So much violence.
Xena like runs in at that moment, and she's like, you want to tell me something?
Okay. Xena and all this stuff is very strange. I just feel like she's not reacting in a way where she's paying any attention to the fact that Gabrielle almost drowned.
She didn't know. She just
I know, but I think that they say it. They're like, Aphrodite says something. She's like, in a couple seconds, she's like, are you all right?
Right. Well, like she's like, you want to tell me something? Because that was a reaction to seeing Jaxter and Gab's kiss. Gabrielle says that she had a weird dream. That's like her response. And then Aphrodite's like, what? Like, you almost drowned. Like, you were out for a whole minute. Then Aphrodite and Discord almost fight again. Oh, my goodness. And then Xena scares him off. Like, she's like, you want a taste of my new chakram? Which, again, was really weird.
Yeah.
Like, she's had it for a really long time.
Yeah, that felt like from the people who saw the second episode of the season and nothing else.
Yeah, so, like, you're also supposed to see that the whole episode took place in 1 minute of time.
Again, more reason to believe this is a fantasy.
Right. Of course.
I kind of like the ambiguity. I like that the shot of the ring is
underwater time is fast.
I like that it's so blink and you miss that you like don't notice the ring.
I didn't actually notice it.
It's there, and it's
I
weird.
hate this.
Does it leave like by the end of the scene?
I
somehow?
didn't see. All I know is that when she grabs Jaxter's head to kiss him, you see it.
Don't mention it again.
I'm sorry, it's just there.
All right, so then Eve starts crying, and Gabs wants to give it a shot here. She's like, "Can I hold her?" Mm-hmm. And Xena's like, "IDK."
She's really like,
"You sure you're all right?" And Gabs is like, "Oh, sure. You know, I bonded with a squid baby, so I got this."
So now she's able to hold Eve, and Eve stops crying.
Yeah, and it's a cute little moment. And Gabs is like, I got a new story to tell you.
So she's going to be the best mom now.
Yep. Because she bonded with a squid baby.
Yeah.
And I like Xena watching sweetly. Like she's like
she makes a cute face.
Yeah, it's so she has this little smile. She's proud and then like follows. And actually the very last image of the episode is Jaxter following them both, like rubbing his face from where Gabrielle punched him. So I like that the last image of the episode is Ted Raimi kind of like suffering.
Oh my goodness.
That's correct.
Problematic.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So, I mean, I understand why people hate this episode, and I understand why it's number 1 on the hated list on Whoosh. I get it.
Yeah, I think I can put myself in the place of somebody who watched it, like, live and, like, learned to hate it that way.
I don't know. I love everything that we've said about it, but at the end of the day, I love these characters and Gabrielle so much that to have these issues, I don't know.
I certainly agree with you that, like, the problems of season 5 are major problems, and that, nobody has character arcs, and so many things that we wish, they'd actually like tracked character arcs from the ends of Ides of March, you know, with Gabrielle and her violence and with connecting Hope to Eve and what that means for both women and their relationships with Eve. Like there's so much like fertile emotional territory to mine, and it didn't mine it in part because like of the scramble behind the scenes with the different showrunners. But at the same time, that doesn't stop me from really honestly having a lot of fun with this episode.
I do. I agree that everything that you've said is, I hope, has convinced people to really give this episode a second chance.
For sure.
I feel like, I don't blame the problems of season 5 on this episode. I think it is an interesting, like using the rom-com and the sitcom as a way of talking about having a relationship with a man and having children is really smart and a really clever way of like using the history of TV and movies to like tell a psychological story about Gabrielle. I'm not saying that any of this stuff is done like insanely well.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm really trying to say.
For me, it's there and nobody sees that it's there when they talk about this episode.
I totally agree. And that I think that, I definitely think that that's what it has going for it. It shouldn't be number one on the worst list at all. I think that it's fun for this show to like try things, and I think that the more I watch it, the more I just get mad that these really important themes for one of my favorite characters of all time are dealt with in this way, that to someone who maybe isn't as invested in the show, like you'll have a harder time like looking at this and selling it to someone who is just a casual fan. To a casual fan, this is like, I can really see why you would hate it. Really. It's really hard to watch something like this and just be like, this is fine. This is, you know what I mean?
Even to a hardcore fan, you'd be like, what?
I know, and
so
that too, because it's not like the show. And
Right,
I think for us, it's fun to find what really, really works about it and what's really, really fun about it as an experiment.
Yeah, I think a lot of the criticism in the end comes down to, well, this isn't really an episode of Xena. And, you know, like if you want to like squint and see like, oh, there's like character development from Gabrielle, but only if you really look for it. Like, I mean, obviously that's a problem with an episode that's supposed to be an episode of the show and should have some kind of continuity and importance, like in the scheme of things. Like, I think
there's so many episodes that don't have any fucking importance.
I know. And that's why I think this is actually better than a lot of them.
That's why I don't think it should be number one worst.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is
It's
one of these weird things where, like, if you like went to someone and said, wouldn't you love to see an episode where Gabrielle like reckons with everything that happened to her with Hope and like everything that now she faces as the co-parent to Eve, and what would that look like? You'd be like, oh my God, I want to see that episode of the show. And then you're like, well, guess what? It's Married with Fishsticks. And then they'd hate you. I mean, it's such a like two-sided thing, because like it's there. I think hopefully, like if you haven't really seen it there, maybe this podcast has helped to open your eyes to some of the interesting issues that actually are there in the episode. Maybe intentionally. I think semi-intentionally. Let's put it kindly that way. You know, obviously it isn't enough. I completely agree with you, Katie. I think this is part of being...
That's the right way to put it. It's not anywhere near enough.
Yeah. Part of being a fan, I think, is trying to mine as much import out of an episode as you can. And, like, you know, either you're going to be able to mine enough for yourself out of this or you're not. And also, Baby Roe.
I mean, wonderful.
Listen, and I mind all of it because the more I rewatch this episode, the more I go, this is my favorite Xena Light episode, I think, because I can rewatch this one over and over because it's such a different world. I take a vacation. I'm at the club with them. I'm like not thinking about anything. I'm just enjoying fucking.
Yeah, like, I'm like overthinking it in my corner, and you're just like
underthinking it.
You're just like looking at the outfits and being like, Baby Roe.
Like I love the accents. I love Baby Roe.
I love the accents.
I just love how everybody's having a good time. I love how it's set in the present, but not in like that dated way of the 90s, you know, how like some of the episodes are.
That's true. That's a really good point, because it has that kind of 60s and 70s and 50s. It literally pulls from almost every decade of the 20th century.
And it stands it doesn't feel dated, like when, you know, he was like in Rob's office pitching or whatever. That's episode.
It never pulls, like, I think one thing that you have to say about Married with Fishsticks is that the world building is very comprehensive, down to, you know, like what the like floor lamps look like everything about this world they figured out, like, and you kind of just enjoy that aspect of it.
And Xena is my favorite character, and I did not miss her. Although when I think about it, I would have loved to see her at the club.
I would have loved
with
Xena,
the accent.
Xena at the club.
And like I would have loved it. Like I would have loved it. What if she was the big octopus?
And isn't that a problem?
It's like a Ursula.
Yeah, I wanted her to be like an Ursula.
Oh my god!
What does that mean even?
I don't know. I don't stop putting meaning onto it. Just enjoy.
But yeah, in my like psychological allegory, like where is Xena? Like, if this really were a dream Gabrielle was dreaming, shouldn't Xena be in that dream?
But that's my saving grace of the episode, is that she busts out in the middle of the wedding. Yeah. And then you can't have the impact of it if she's in it prior.
That's really true. Yeah. And it is a big impact. Whatever you feel about this episode, when you see footage of Xena again, you're like, oh, save me.
Anyway.
So yeah, that's us on Married with Fishsticks.
We did it.
I can't believe this is going to be one of our longer episodes. Who would have predicted that?
You know, it goes hand in hand with our Bittersweet, you know?
Yep, they are two sides of the same coin. They're all an illusion.
All right, I think we've definitely talked enough. So we can be done. You can follow us on all the stuff and things.
Yeah, on the internet, XenaWarriorPodcast.com, where you can go find links to everything. We're on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe, rate, and leave a review there. Please don't leave reviews about how you hate Married with Fishsticks. We know that you hate it. We are on Twitter at Xena Warrior Pod. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, Xena Warrior Podcast, and Patreon. If you search for Xena Warrior Podcast, or go to patreon.com/Xena Warrior Podcast.
So for us at Xena Warrior Podcast, Salmonia, Crawfia, and Tuna. Signing off. The power.
The passion.
The podcast.